Hello, everybody. Welcome to the Timesphere, where we have timely discussions that are hardly ever on time. That is never, well, I guess it has been more true because we took like 8 months off from our
Mm.
original like test batch of episodes, but we did skip a week for the holidays and all the coinciding things that happened around that. Scott, how was your holidays? How was your break? I know there was a stressful kind of end to that weekend, but
A little bit, but ended up being okay at the end. But yeah, it was still a really good holiday. I only did one plate this year at Thanksgiving, so clearly my old age is getting to me. But it's nice. Happy to be in the holiday season. Happy to kind of yeah, just happy to be at the end of what's been an interesting year that started out stressful. That's gone a little better. And yeah, it's been I've been able to play more games and it's been good. It's been a good holiday. How about you?
mine was also pretty good. I did not go for one plate. I had
There you go.
my usual plate and a half, and I actually did have dessert this year. I usually don't end up having dessert because I eat so much
Mm.
normal food, but I did have a slice of my cousin's apple pie this year at the first Thanksgiving because I have two. So we did that Thanksgiving, and then we had 3 days of eating leftovers for that. So, fun fact: my grandma, who just had a very successful hip surgery, which I'm very thankful for, uh, she couldn't move around very well to do her usual cooking and everything. So this year we catered
Mhm.
a lot of the side dishes. She just my cousin's husband fried a turkey, and then someone brought the ham, and someone brought the mashed potatoes, and then we catered some of the stuff, and she made stuffing and a dessert. So she was limited, but she still did some stuff. But she told us, "Oh, well, you might not have as much food to take home this year." And I'm like, "JoJo, we for as long as I have been alive, we have taken home enough Thanksgiving food from your Thanksgiving alone to feed us for a week." I would have mishmash Thanksgiving bowls when I would come home from high school and everything for forever. I was like, I think we can live with that. We ended up taking home more than we usually did.
Mm.
So
Oh yeah.
we literally still have some ham. We had to freeze some turkey, and we did not get through everything. We're gonna have to actually like throw out some food, which rarely happens after a Thanksgiving. So
We brought home some turkey. We also brought home Steph made mac and cheese with like we used how we used like oh not we used some pepper jack cheese in there.
mm,
We had like the good like a good quality
yeah, like a good
baked molten
mixed mac and
cheese.
cheese. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah, like a good mac and cheese. It was a big hit. And I had French silk pie, which is my favorite because it's just it's chocolatey. It's pretty much like the chocolate cake version of pie, and I'm a big chocolate guy.
Yep.
Always have been, always will be. Even if even if the doctors say to stop, I ain't stopping.
Yeah. We have a similar thing. Do you know what a derby pie is?
No, I don't. What's
Okay.
derby pie?
It's kind of like I actually don't know how to describe it very well. My grandma would always describe it. It's kind of a similar thing where it's like a mishmash of different like uh it's a really congealed kind of pie. It's got some chocolate like chunks in there. Kind of like it's kind of got a syrupy texture in the
Mm,
middle.
okay.
It's like a I don't know if it's a Midwest thing or a Southern thing or whatever, but like I'm not a big dessert guy, but we have technically have 3 Thanksgivings every year. We have one for my mom's side of the family, one for my dad's side of the family, and then on my dad's side of the family, we also do like a mix of a Thanksgiving Christmas with the extended family.
Mm,
So we had that this
okay.
weekend, and there's always a homemade derby pie there, and I
Okay.
always almost regret going for it
Nice.
because that pushes me over the edge over the plate that I usually get. Uh, yeah, it was a good holidays. Oh, any fun Black Friday shopping? That's a thing our industry usually talks about. Did you get
Oh
anything good there?
yeah.
I know you bought like a TV and a PlayStation before that, but
I got a TV. So I got a PlayStation gifted to me from work, which is very nice. Shout out the team of Story Mob on a great year. And then I was like, well, I have this. The TV I have is from my partner's, like from her parents' house. It's like it was like 12, 13 years old. But it was free, so I was like, "Yeah, great." And
yeah,
it was gonna.
obviously,
Essentially, it's in like it's here in the room. It's here in the room with us. It was right up. It's like right up over here to my left, or I guess to or yeah, it looks like right because the flip image. But to my left, it's up on the wall. And I was like, if I'm gonna get a PS5, get a new TV.
That's what I did too. Yeah.
Well, I'll tell you what happened. I don't know if I told the story last time, but I
You did.
bought the TV. Uh, yeah, I did. Okay, yeah, it
No, no,
showed
no,
up.
no. You told me. You told me. I know the story. I don't know if you told it. I don't think you told it on the
Oh, I
pod.
didn't tell it. Okay, yeah. So I bought the TV, got it from Best Buy. It was at a different store, but it was a great deal. It was like a Hisense. It's like 65. It's like 55-inch, same size as the old one, but like much better. Like a not like an OLED, but like a QLED, cause so like the
QLED.
step
Yeah.
right below OLED. And then I was also excited because it got like $100 like voucher for the FIFA store, and I was like, oh, and Scotland just made the World Cup. I can buy a Scotland jersey with this. Great. TV shows up, or it gets to Best Buy. Go to pick it up, bring it home. Next day, my partner's brother comes over to help us install because he used to work at Best Buy and install TVs. And I was like, great, let's have the expert here. Open it up, and there's a big old crack in the middle. I was like, cool, great. The first time in my life I've ever bought a TV, because first it was my parents' house and I was in college, and then places I'd stayed either had a TV there, I was renting, they had a TV there, or a roommate had one. And then here, like obviously, like I said, I had Steph's hand me down. So I was like, all right, my first TV that I bought, it was broken. I was like, great. So I go back. I want to, but that was like literally the only one in like the whole system of Best Buys around us. I was like, great, I can't get a new one, or I'd have to wait like weeks. I was like, I don't want to wait weeks because I had taken the old TV down, and so all these wires are hanging there, and like we're doing like we also had just installed the um one of the little wall things so you can snake everything through the wall.
Yeah.
So it's nice and clean. There's no hanging wires. I was like, I was like, I don't want these wires hanging there. I don't want Peter messing with it. I'm like, I really want. I was like, I'm just gonna buy it. I was gonna buy it. I was gonna buy a TV here, and so I am spending a little more. Got an OLED, a little bit smaller. Like I think this one's like actually it was gonna be a 65. This one's a 55, but it's an OLED, so it's really good quality image. And it's still close enough. Like I either sit here and look up at it, or I'm on the spare bed that's over there, and I'll play on it. I'm very happy with it. So that's what I got for my Black Friday. It was a bit of a
Bit of a journey.
journey
Yeah.
to get there, but we did get it. Anything else I got from Black Friday? I'm thinking like tech or like gadgets or anything. No, PS5 was a gift. I was looking in my room, see if there's anything I bought that I forgot about. No, no, nothing really comes to mind. There's some Steam games that Steph wants for Christmas that I'll be getting her. So I'm gonna look for some sale prices. But yeah. What about you?
All my stuff was boring stuff for the most part. Like I did not buy any games.
No,
I take that
can't be
back.
boring.
Okay, well I bought like I had to get an iPhone. So
Mhm.
for reference, my dog knocked I had a Galaxy Flip, and my dog. Well, I was playing Fire Emblem Heroes. While I had my dog out going to the bathroom, I had him on a leash, and he ran into my legs and knocked it out of my hand and cracked the screen.
That sleeping angel back there, he's never done
Yeah,
anything wrong in his
he's
life.
never done anything wrong in his life. I say as he costs me multiple
I'm
thousands of
his I,
dollars over
I'm his lawyer, and I say he's never done anything.
but yeah, so that was the second time I would have to get the screen replaced because the first one there was like a connector issue in the back, but it was under warranty then. It's not anymore. So I took it in and they were like, yeah, we can. It was a whole ordeal for like 2 weeks. I just didn't really have a phone because I could still access my messages and stuff from the closed screen. But as soon as I open it, it's just like over the course of like an hour, it went from fully functional to just not being able to show anything on the screen for whatever
Ugh.
reason. I was just like,
It's always that slow death with
yeah.
screens. It's just
So I
agonizing.
was
You're
just
like, you
like,
look at, you're like, oh, it's okay, it's okay, it's okay. Then it's like, you're like, we're losing him, and you're just like trying to get him back.
yeah. And so I just like, I had to go through the agonizing process of over like a 3 week period. Uh, Desmond had like a spare iPhone that was better than my backup phone sitting around his house, and he was like, "You can just have this if you want." I was like, "Okay." So I got that, and I switched over everything, and it took me a week to get all the files transferred over because I had to go back to the store and have them put a temporary screen on and do this and do that, and then I had to get everything set up on the iPhone, and I had some issues with the eSIM getting transferred over and my hotspot and all this other just awful stuff. Had internet issues at the same time, so basically I had to do like some changing around of some tech. Like I got a couple like wireless magnetic chargers, for like my
Your
room
broken screen was smaller, but a lot more annoying from what it sounds like.
yeah.
Like,
Oh,
I just, like I could still, like, use everything. Like, mine's just like, "Oh, this is
yeah. Well,
annoying. I have to go
it's
back
also
to the
like yours
start."
is a TV versus
Like
mine is my phone. Like
yeah,
we
which is
like
yeah,
daily.
way more important. Yeah.
Exactly. Like I still I now to be fair, I did find out after the fact that since I can still unlock the screen on my the outside, I can still cast it to my TV or my computer monitor if I plug it in directly to the hub I have my MacBook plugged into. So I can still access all the files that I couldn't transfer over, like all my old messages and stuff. I can still access them because you can't transfer messages from Samsung to iPhone, but you can do it. The whole transfer stuff is stupid. It's dumb. I hate it. It took forever. That's all I did. I got like some like wireless magnetic chargers and a couple like just upgrades to like little things like I've a new hub for
Sure.
like by my bed to plug stuff into. What else? I thought about getting like a new like one of the new uh retro emulators or whatever just to like test it
Mm,
out and have something to fiddle with. But then I was like, bro, I've got a Xbox ROG Ally. Like I don't
yeah.
need like I have the Mia Mini Plus, which I've played so much over the last like 6 months that the A button, the membrane on it has worn down. So I'm gonna have to replace the
Ooh,
membrane on the
damn. Real gamer.
yeah, apparently. It's just the A button because I play mostly RPGs on it. So like I've just worn down hitting A so much from playing like all the different Pokemon and like RPGs. But yeah, just some stuff like that. I looked at some other stuff, but yeah, most of what I had, like I was just like, I just need like some little upgrades here or there. I got some new clothes, like some new workout stuff, because I've been going to the
Yeah.
gym again, and like some new pants. I got a really
Mhm.
cool uh X-Men bomber jacket. Uh, yeah. So like that was
That reminds me, my girlfriend told me there's a sale on, double sole socks, which she
mm,
really likes. They're, like, a really good deal,
yeah,
and I really like too, so
yeah.
I
It's
need to
just like
remember
it's
to
just
do that
boring,
instead of
like
buying it from
boring stuff that's like useful and
yeah.
practical. Like I didn't buy any games. Actually, I don't think I bought any games. There are a couple games. I got a code for Demon School, so I've been playing that.
Mm,
And that's very good. Like I've been trying to clear out the game of the year stuff that I've been working through. I'm almost done with Dispatch. I said like it's been 2 weeks and I still haven't finished that game just because I've been doing so much other stuff. But Dispatch, Skate Story just came out and that's getting good reviews.
yeah,
I'm
that just came out, that looks sick.
excited to see like get on that one. Uh, I'm probably gonna finish Blueprints, and I think that'll probably be the last of the game of the year list that I play before the end of the
Mhm.
year or before the game. I'm not gonna finish it before the Game Awards, but it's not like that's gonna
Yeah,
impact my decision.
you got 2
Yeah, I got
days.
2 days to finish Dispatch and Blueprints and whatever else. So
Dispatch isn't too
it isn't. No,
time
you can
sensitive. I have
literally
no idea about Blueprint.
you could literally
You
finish
can
Dispatch in probably a day,
yeah,
like us sitting if you like don't expansively go through everything. But
yeah,
uh, and it's all
but
that's
if
I
they
think that's
do add,
good
like
because of the replay stuff and everything. But
if they do add, like, yeah, I did say I was gonna replay it and but, like, do opposite decisions, but I feel like I'd just rather just look those up rather than spend the time, so I'd
it's the
rather play
same
other
thing
stuff.
that a lot of people do in those kind of games, like Baldur's Gate 3, which that
Yeah,
depends on it's a type of person, depending on the type of person you are. Because the two of us like playing a lot of games, we like going
yeah.
through and experiencing a lot of games. So I still haven't finished Baldur's Gate 3 because
We say as we load up Marvel Rivals again
oh
for the
100%.
what
Like we play so
the
much Marvel
ninth in a
Rivals,
row.
but the the point being like we try and go and experience other stuff. So like I go through and try like because I play a lot of RPGs, so I play a lot of time consuming stuff. Like I still haven't played Trails in the Sky the remake. I haven't played like Octopath Traveler Zero just came out and I haven't played it.
Mhm.
There's a lot of stuff that I haven't gotten to that I want to get to that's time consuming. So for games like Dispatch that have the multiple endings, like Baldur's Gate 3, I really liked Baldur's Gate 3. But I haven't finished it
Mhm.
because it's so time
I
consuming
also didn't
and
finish it.
games that have such intensive branching paths give me a certain type of
Yeah,
anxiety.
that one Baldur's Gate especially is
Yeah,
huge.
and it's like because I'm not even a big D&D guy. Like I'll play D&D mostly like standalone sessions or like tabletop stuff, but
Mhm.
D&D isn't really my bag, or I haven't really vibed with it in that way. like the way some of my college friends do. Like I have a group of college friends that are still running campaigns that they did in college together at post college. So
Yeah.
that's just not really my bag. So I didn't finish Baldur's Gate 3, but if I did finish it, I would play it once and then I'd go look up the other
Yeah.
stuff because I probably wouldn't go back and do it other than maybe like a couple decisions or just to have like a fun playthrough, like more
Yeah.
casually. For Dispatch, it's the same thing where it's like, and I've talked to a couple people that are like this, where it's like, whatever my Dispatch playthrough goes through, that's going to be my canonical Dispatch playthrough,
Yeah.
and then everything
Mhm.
else is going to be just additive to that.
Mhm.
So that's
Yeah.
just kind of how I plan on rolling with it. Now, depending on how much I like the ending and how my next year shapes up, because we'll have an episode later or like at the start of the year talking about like our resolutions for
Mhm.
2026. But one of my things is I'm debating on how heavily I want to, either depending on like how much writing I'm doing, how much freelancing I'm doing, what my future work is going to look like,
Right.
how involved I want to be with new big games versus being more selective in the new big games I play and then actually going back and trying to, like, I just speaking of what I did over the break, one night I went through and I installed and optimized the Dolphin emulator for my Xbox ROG Ally,
Mm.
and I
Mhm.
installed because I'm a big GameCube guy. I love the GameCube, and I've played most big games on the GameCube, like most of the ones that people always talk about as like the critically acclaimed stuff. But I didn't own a lot of those games growing up, so I had to catch up on them. And so there's still like quite a few of them that I've either only really touched a little bit or haven't played through. So I went through and made a list of GameCube games, which isn't as extensive as I thought it was going to be for what I missed that I want to get through.
It's yeah, yeah.
Like I thought it was going to be closer to like 20 or 30 games, but it actually only ended up being like 10 that I like, that are like the ones that everybody says you have to play, and then a couple extra ones on top of it that I want to check out.
It does it I do feel like GameCube, looking back at, like, GameCube, there are a lot of there aren't as many, like, elite game like, I think the good GameCube games are really good.
Oh
They're,
yeah.
like, some of the best in terms of, like, in terms of looking at each console, like, what the quality of the best games, I think that theirs is up there. There's not as many I think you're right, there's not as many as
Well,
you think
this is
there
a
are.
this is like a two-sided thing. So for me, the GameCube was like the first console I had. Like we got a GameCube, and that was the first console that we had in my house that wasn't like my dad's PlayStation that we occasionally got to play some games that he let us play on it. And then like I had a game we had a Game Boy and a Game Boy Advanced. Like that was like my most of my gaming up through high school, like end of middle school, high school, was handheld. Because the GameCube, we had a
Mm,
GameCube, but we only had the two games we got for it at launch, or three games we got for it at launch. It came with Mario Strikers and it came with Mario Party 7, which was my first Mario Party because we didn't have an N64. And we got Metroid Prime. So Metroid Prime for the longest time was the only first party Nintendo game that we had for that console. That was like an actual single player thing. We didn't have Luigi's Mansion,
mm.
didn't have Mario Sunshine, because we didn't have money to get games, and we weren't like, I was reading Game
Yep.
Informer a little bit, but not a lot. I was like, I don't even remember what year. 2001 is when it came
Wow.
out.
I can't believe you didn't support games media. That's crazy.
Yeah, I know. 5-year old, 6-year old me definitely was in that boat. But yeah, no. So I got Pokemon Coliseum because my for Christmas, and then I convinced my dad to give me XD Yellow of Darkness when that came out when we went to the state fair because they had a
Mm,
game show, or like a couple game stores, and I convinced to get that. But we didn't have a lot of like the classic GameCube games until I started getting my own money, and I was like, oh, I love the GameCube. I want to get like Super Mario Sunshine, Paper Mario Thousand Year
yeah.
Door, Luigi's Mansion. I
Mhm.
want to go experience a bunch of these games, like Fire Emblem Path of Radiance. I went and bought, and like that is so hard to get. Even back when I bought it, it was $100 for a CIB copy. Like I got
Mm.
that and Radiant Dawn for the Wii. Both of those are like short prints. I got them for two. I had to pay like $180 for two games at a local trade
Oof.
show. Like it's crazy. I saw a stat. So the GameCube was sold like 22 million units or whatever total lifetime. There are going to be more people that probably learn and play GameCube games for the first time on Switch 2 online than have owned a GameCube. Like statistically. That'll be the first time. I mean, I never had Chibi Robo. I played Chibi Robo. I've got halfway through Chibi Robo on Switch 2 online, and I never touched it before that. So, makes sense. But yeah.
Yeah.
And then talking about the catalog of it, you look at like the top tier GameCube stuff by the end of the life cycle, the Zelda games, the Metroid Primes, the Mario stuff, and all the extra bits. Um, you could probably it's comparable to what the original Xbox had in terms of
Mm,
the lineup. Like those two are more
yeah.
comparable. I think the GameCube probably has more heavy hitters, just because Nintendo at the
Yeah.
time still had the IP. Xbox was getting its footing at the time because that
Yeah.
was their first console, and then the PS2 just blew them both out of the water because it had quantity across the board, just like the
Whole
more
9 yards. Yeah.
yeah. And then once you get the next generation is kind of when you start getting uh, the Xbox starting to come into its own a little bit more. PlayStation 3 was a little weirder for the that those two got a lot closer, and then Nintendo started doing the weird Nintendo stuff again, and they still had the IP and still had everything, but
They
it
can't help
was
themselves.
yeah, exactly. And then like it's almost incomparable how much better the Switches and Switch 2 library is than basically the majority of every other Nintendo console in terms of
Yeah.
quality and quantity and like
The, yeah. The Wii era is pretty rough in terms of
yeah,
good quality games that came out. In
that might be
terms of like
something we can do.
must have. Yeah.
Like I kind of
Mu-
want to do that with you to go through the each catalog of like the generations of each, like the
hmm.
Xbox stuff, the PlayStation stuff, the Nintendo stuff, and kind of like give our thoughts on like each console generation essentially
We should
based
do
on different games and whatnot.
we should do like what Bill Simmons would do with like NBA draft classes where we're picking our best
Retroactively
one.
do that. Yeah, we could do that. We could do special like shorter stuff talking about that. But
He's like there's not a lot of heavy hitters, but look at the depth.
yeah, like
I think I love to see.
just a brief conversation on that before we get to the actual conversation. And most of the topics that we're going to talk about today are pretty substantial in terms of what we need to talk about, but they're not super long topics that we say is we're probably going to get into one that goes forever. But the
Yeah.
uh the idea of that is like if you look at like the NES, you've got a couple games there that are really carrying because that's
Mhm.
just so formative, and a lot of the stuff just is it doesn't hold up versus like once you get to the SNES, like
Mhm.
especially for the time, like how many people do you hear talk about an NES game that they still go back and play versus an SNES game? I think more people go back and play SNES games than they go back and play Nintendo 64 games because you've got like Super Mario All
See,
Stars.
this was around the time where like N64 is when I started
Yeah,
playing video games, and I never like went back and was like, oh, I gotta go play this stuff. I mean, I have like the NES, SNES like apps on my Switch too,
yeah,
but I wouldn't say I like use them very frequently. Usually, it's like I'm hanging out with Steph on the couch, and like we have like Giant Bomb or someone up on or Min Max up on the big screen. I'm just like, I just want to play something to kill time. If I'm not playing Uma Musume,
yeah,
uh, which it still got its, I was gonna say claws, still got its hooves dug
yeah.
into me.
But I mean,
We'll
like,
talk about horse. We'll talk about horrific horse games later.
oh yeah, we will. Uh, but yeah, no, the idea of like, okay, cool, like Mario 64, Star Fox 64, Mario Kart, whatever, but then you talk about like Super Mario All Stars, Super Metroid, Punch Out, like
Mm,
these games that are like some of the best games for some of Nintendo's IP are still on the SNES,
mm.
like which is crazy to say, but like
Super Mario All Stars is a compilation, though. I think it's a little,
yeah, I know, but like the people still go back and play it
yeah.
versus like
That's yeah.
what games on N64 are people like actively like this is something we'd have to go through the
Super Mario
catalog
64, they
like
go
Banjo
back, but
Kazooie,
yeah,
but
yeah.
that's a Nintendo published, not Nintendo developed.
Star
Um,
Wars Episode 1 race.
yeah, Star Wars Episode One Racer, like Rogue Squadron,
Yeah.
I guess.
I mean, that'd be a fun. That'd be fun too. Like you have to pick which platform. If you want, you can only play Star Wars games from one platform. You have to pick which one. You have to pick. You can't pick PC. You have to pick a console just for Star Wars games.
Yeah, that'd be a tough one. I mean,
Yeah,
it mostly depend
I
on the
think I would
era.
just take original X. I think I would just take original Xbox, and I'm getting the Battlefronts. I'm getting
Yeah, you're getting well. Are you
the
getting Battlefront
I'm
Two or
getting
just Battlefront One? think it's just Battlefront 1.
Um,
I mean, either way, you're getting both KOTORs
I think
and
two was I
Battlefront.
think two originally released on. I think the
The
two came out
original
during the original
Xbox.
Xbox era.
It
Yeah,
might
the
have.
like
It probably
the
did.
Pandemic Studios Battlefronts, not the EA
Yeah.
ones,
Well,
obviously.
obviously, yeah. But
I think Force Unleashed maybe
n-
just snuck in before.
nope.
You think that was after?
That was definitely Xbox
Okay.
360 because that was a Wii. That was Wii.
Oh, and uh, Knights of Republics.
I said that. Yeah, KOTOR.
Yeah,
Yeah,
yeah.
you're
That, I
getting
mean, those
both.
are. I mean
I said you'd
yeah,
probably do it even if you don't get Battlefront 2 because you're still getting the first one and both KOTORs.
yeah, getting both KOTORs.
Yeah. So if
And
you're
we
talking
talked about
about
those too. For
release
sure.
window years of like what console, that's probably still the winner,
Yeah.
depending on your
Because KOTOR
taste.
1 had, like, I remember my KOTOR 1 had, like, it was like a platinum hit because it had, like, the
Yeah.
silver box, and I was like, "Yeah," I was like,
Yeah.
"Oh, this game must be good." Spoiler alert, very good.
Yeah. Well, speaking of that, we can touch on that. I read the article. I did. We're not. I didn't put it on the docket, but there's like details for like a KOTOR 2 remake leaked in
Mhm.
something or whatever. So and then there's also a report that they hit a snag somewhere with the original KOTOR remake. Who knows?
There was supposed to be I think I mean, we can read through when we get to the later news section,
I mean,
but I think
it's still
I think
happening.
there's, like, a yeah. Apparently, well, I saw like mixed things. Like people like, I saw like I didn't read it yet, but I saw like a mix of headlines. People being like, "Oh yeah, Coder 2 remake," and then other people being like, "Oh, there was going to be a Coder 2 remake." I'm like, "All right, which one is it? Is there going to be?
Well, we
Is it
know
going to
that
be a
the
Coder 2
KOTOR
remake or
remake is
not?"
still happening, but
Yes.
the KOTOR 2 one's a new thing. It's whatever. I just wanted to mention that briefly because that is still apparently happening. You know, it's also happening, Scott.
Mhm.
This stupid more consolidation in our industry and then media at
Mm.
large, which is always a great sign. Because if you haven't been online and you've lived under a rock or whatever, Netflix is the winner of the bidding war that popped up almost completely out of nowhere. Now, I say completely out of nowhere.
That we know of. We
No,
know that we know this.
Warner Brothers has been trying to sell different parts of its company since it was still under AT&T.
Mhm.
Like I remember back at Dot, I had to cover this like once every like 4 months of some
Mhm.
insider report of them talking about a merger, them talking about a buyout because EA was in the same boat where EA was
Mhm.
always like there was rumors that Disney might acquire EA or they talked to like Comcast or whatever. All the big names were in talks at some point to or in some variety to acquire EA or whatever. But Netflix is the winner of the very sudden escalation of the Warner Brothers Discovery bidding war. They're going to purchase Warner Brothers Discovery pending FCC and all the approvals and everything for
Mhm.
$82.7 billion. This does include both the Warner Brothers catalog, so all their studios, all their IP, all the everything, DC Comics and whatnot, and Warner Brothers games, which is a much smaller but still significant portion of it. From what I understand, it does not include the Discovery portion of the company because they were already in talks to again split Warner Brothers and Discovery into two separate entities again. That would still be run by the same company. This is before the merger talks and the acquisition talks
Mhm.
happened. So the Discovery stuff will still be spun off into its own thing. This will just be a purchase of the Warner Brothers assets that were mostly what was acquired
Mhm.
from AT&T when Discovery purchased that 3-4 years ago now at this point. So regardless, this was a
I
shit
I
show of a
think
thing.
I think it is worth pointing out that this isn't like a done, set in stone
Absolutely
deal
not.
yet.
No.
It still has to go like the Activision Blizzard Microsoft thing. Remember, it has to go through a bunch of approvals. It has to go through, you know, regulatory meetings to make sure everything's like it's not a monopoly. I mean, it technically is, and it technically is. Like, I mean, it's a huge like just
This is a huge consolidation. Like you said, it is and
that's what
isn't
I'm
a
looking for. Yeah,
monopoly
like
because the consolidation is of two. Okay, so in the streaming industry, it is a monopoly because I believe Netflix is number one and HBO Max is number three in terms of total streamer
yeah,
numbers. So in that industry, it is a monopoly. In the entertainment industry at large, not really a monopoly because they're
right.
still like Netflix was. Yes, they were making their own movies, but again, the way this works and from what the way I've heard discussions go is that because Netflix has promised certain gives essentially in talks with this that this is going to go a little bit smoother because Netflix is basically like, oh
Mhm.
yeah, we have no plans to like pull stuff from the movie theaters. We're still going to honor movie theater stuff. We're actually probably going to do more stuff in movie theaters, but the timeline of those movies being in theaters will shrink. Is
Yeah.
what the quotes have said more recently.
And they'll say what needs to be heard.
Yeah,
They'll say
it's the
what'll
same
get this
thing
deal
Microsoft
across.
did with the Activision Blizzard acquisition, where it's like, oh
Yeah.
yeah, there's not going to be like mass layoffs. We're going to do this, and it's going to strengthen this, and we're going to do this, and then they basically like within 2 years, all that was thrown out the window. As soon as everything was finalized, there was 10,000, 8,000 layoffs, and 10,000 layoffs, and another 8,000 layoffs earlier this year. Like, just the, the consolidation part of this, because of how different
Mhm.
the two companies are, won't be as bad. There'll still be a bunch of layoffs, so it's going to suck. This is still a terrible
Yeah.
thing to happen. I wish this wouldn't happen, even though Warner
Mhm.
Brothers Discovery is an incompetently run company,
Sure.
and it's just terrible in like most ways. Uh, but so the bullet points from Netflix's statement, which is
Yeah.
complete filler fluff, nothing to read into other than just like the basics. Transaction
Mhm.
unites Warner Brothers' iconic franchises, storied libraries, and Netflix's leading entertainment services, creating an extraordinary offering for consumers. Netflix to maintain Warner Brothers' current operations, so movie production, pipeline to
Mhm.
theater, other projects. So that means like DC Comics probably isn't going anywhere under this, that kind of stuff. Combination will offer more choice and greater value for consumers and shareholders, create more opportunities for the creative community and generative
Mhm.
shareholder value. Yeah, acquisition will strengthen the entertainment industry. So broad view of this.
Mhm.
Unfortunately, this was probably the best of like the three big outcomes that this could have happened with, and we'll get to one of them in a second because Paramount is not happy
Because
about
one,
this.
yeah, they're putting their big boy pants on, and they're saying not on they're going not on our watch, and they're gonna try and
Yeah, well, they're also
muscle
backed
their
by
way.
Saudi money. Apparently, is what I'm like. Apparently, they like Paramount doesn't have the money themselves, so they're gonna be backed by the PIF in like a certain way to do this because they're gonna offer more, and like they're
Mhm.
hoping to appeal to the shareholders and the FCC and be like, why aren't we allowed to do this? And because Paramount is stroking Trump's third leg in how they handle things, and
Mhm.
like
Which is how
censor,
you get which is how you get anything done today.
yeah,
I mean, look at
how you censor
FIFA.
content
They
and
made
stuff.
up a
I'm
FIFA
sure that's
fighting
going to get
club.
brought up in some fashion because the people that run that company and the family in charge of that already newly made monopoly,
Mhm.
because they just finished an acquisition or being
Right.
acquired. Paramount
EA.
finished being acquired. Uh, yeah, that's BS. So that was the worst case outcome. If they were the outright
Mm.
winner and that was what was happening. That was the by far the worst case outcome. It was that or just a straight up Saudi acquisition. Those are the two worst
Mhm.
potential outcomes. There's a Comcast side of this. I don't remember what the name of the full Comcast company is, but Comcast's.
Because they own, like, it's a Comcast and NBC, Peacock, that whole,
I think
because
NBC's
that's
on
all owned
Paramount,
by the
isn't
same.
it? Or is that just is it not?
No, NBC, because
They're
NBC
its
and
own thing,
NB
right?
because NBC, yeah, NBC, I thought NBC and Comcast
They are.
and Peacock were
You're
all
right.
the
You're
same
right.
thing.
They're the three sides.
Yeah.
So that was the other side of this, and that's the one I can't quite get the pulse on of how that would have impacted things. Because they don't have like a direct. It would have been as censor heavy. Wouldn't have been as disruptive
Right.
as whatever Paramount would have done with it, or whatever Saudi Arabia outright would have done with it. But
Mhm.
um, it still would have been a mess. Netflix is like the least general like bad option, which still sucks because it's still a giant media corporation acquiring a giant media corporation and consolidating
Yeah.
and creating less opportunity for competition and gathering all this
Mhm.
IP under one umbrella and blah blah blah. So, uh, generally, this is the best of like the three biggest outcomes that could have happened. Other than just Warner Brothers staying independent, which wasn't going to happen because they're incompetent.
I mean, that's, yeah, that's probably, that might even be considered a worse
Yeah,
outcome. It's
because it
just
would have
because,
just been
you know,
like a ticking time bomb.
say what you want about Netflix and the price hikes and how they,
They're the
you know,
best
they're
run
limited.
streamer.
They're, yeah, in terms of like giving you, like, we're not like shilling for them at all, but in terms of
Absolutely
like
not.
giving you
Billion
what you're
dollar company.
paying
Fuck
for,
them.
and the amount of quality content that is there, like, to their credit, they have a lot of, there's a lot of good shit on that service.
Yeah,
Um,
exactly. And they
they are the most competent, yeah,
they are the most
by a
competent.
pretty sizable margin.
They are giving the right things in terms of like what consumers want when it comes to these initial talks, being like, "Hey, we're
Yeah.
not gonna change how or like how Warner Brothers operated much. At least
Mhm.
initially, we're gonna stay in theaters. We're gonna honor those things. It'll just probably change the timeline of how long things are in. We're not gonna like remove these things from theaters." Um,
Yeah.
they're saying the right things, which is what you have to do when you do this kind of stuff, and they always do
Yeah.
that. So who knows how long some of these goodwill uh,
Yeah.
statements will last. Regardless, what does this mean for the gaming side of things? Initially, the game side of things weren't mentioned, but since then we have had multiple reports, including from like Bloomberg, uh, talking about how they work. They wanted they're acquiring like the three major studios and all the gaming assets and stuff that Warner Brothers still has, which is very few,
Yeah.
but that means NetherRealm, Avalanche. What's the other one?
Rocksteady,
Yeah, Rocksteady, and then take
Rock, Rock, and
TT.
Trevor's Tales, who
Yeah,
makes the Lego games.
yeah,
This was really because like we're talking about how Netflix, for the most part is pretty competent. This was really the gaming division is the one thing that was like, what are they really doing here? Because
and we
it's
still don't
still
have
for
an
a long
answer.
time, it's been like, oh, you can play mobile games, you can play Dead Cells, Castlevania, or you can play, a Stranger Things puzzle game, and like they haven't really, um, and they've brought in, for example, they brought in Team Blue, which had a lot of like franchise veterans on it from people who worked on Halo, God of War. They shuttered that studio. They shuttered multiple studios. Like in terms of
Shuttered
like,
their big stuff. They shuttered a couple of their bigger studios. I know they let one studio buy their stuff back.
yeah,
Um,
this feels like, okay. So this could go a couple different ways. This feels like it's like we don't want to go through the process of getting a game dev studio up and running because it takes a lot of money. It takes a lot of years, and we don't know what's going to happen at the end of it. We don't know if we're going to get the thing we like. So we're just going to skip the waiting part and spend a bunch of money on some studios that are already existing, albeit they're not what they once were. They're not, Rocksteady is definitely not, as for lack of a better term, steady as they once were. They used to be like, oh, they made the Arkham series. They're cooking. Let them work. But
yeah.
then they did hold on. Did they make the Arkham? No, not Gotham Knights. Was that
Yeah.
them? Like
No, it,
okay,
it
so
was
yeah,
like they consulted, but it was
yeah,
it
and
was
then of course,
did they have the two studios? The Rocksteady Montreal. What they have a Montreal studio,
um, yes, I think you're
not
right.
Rocksteady Montreal,
Let
Warner
me
Brothers Montreal, something like that.
yes, Warner
The
Brothers
ones
Games Montreal,
that they made Arkham
which I
Origins.
would assume Netflix is acquiring too. Yes,
Yeah, and
so
they made
yeah, they
Arkham
made
Origins.
Origins,
So
which is probably it's not bad,
it
but
is a
it's
good
definitely the
game.
least
It is just
revered.
not to the
It's the
same quality of.
is the least
It might
revered
have
of
the
the
best
Arkham
boss
series.
fight in any Arkham game.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. I mean
And the vibes
I
are
mean
really cool
I
because it's Christmas and like you get to fly like you get to do Batman stuff and like snow, and it was cool, but it was definitely not up to the same quality of like it's probably like Arkham Knight. It's like closer to the quality of Arkham Knight than it is to Arkham City.
yeah.
Put it that way.
Um, but I would say the real thing that's obviously that we covered has been covered extensively is that's tanked the reputation for Rocksteady with Suicide Squad. It was not, and I'm not even. I think we're at the point now where we can probably pretty like definitively say that wasn't really Rocksteady's fault. It's clear Warner Brothers wanted them to make like a live service game and kind of just kept pushing them into this hole that they didn't really fit into.
Yeah.
And
I
and and so hey, maybe Netflix lets them cook. We
I
don't know,
want
but
I want to understand how like my the worst case scenario here is that they either piecemeal out the studios, um, or they don't do much with it and they just kind of become a whatever. Because all the conversation I've seen is heavily favored towards talking about NetherRealm, because what happens with Mortal Kombat here is it just going to become a movie IP? Is it just going to become like an asset to them? Are they going to
mhm,
piecemeal out NetherRealm? Can NetherRealm exist without Mortal Kombat? Like, would that make sense if they just got rid of the studio and just kept Mortal Kombat IP or licensed it to them? There's a whole element there. The best case scenario is what we kind of alluded to earlier, is that Netflix didn't do this with the idea of gaming in mind, but that's a bonus
hmm,
to where now they
yeah,
have a couple staple studios with track records to add to
yeah,
this kind of initiative where they've kind of funneled back to now they're licensing games to be played on
Mhm.
the Netflix service. They have a couple games that they're developing internally. They're mostly smaller stuff with a couple bigger ones here or there. And now they have a couple actual studios that can either be used for that or they can be used for um they can be used to continue doing what they're doing, but with a more when Warner Brothers went through the initial sale to Discovery from AT&T, that already put a bunch of pressure onto the developers working at those studios to
Mhm.
transition from not necessarily transition from one leadership to another because the leadership mostly stayed the same, but transition from one identity of the company that owns them to another one in a different like setting. So now they have to do that again, but David Zaslav hopefully won't be involved after the
Oh,
fact.
please.
God, just get rid of that man, please. Like I don't I just please. But like the idea here is the hopeful outcome of this would be what we just talked about, what I just mentioned. They get more support, they get stability,
Yeah.
and they
Mhm.
are told, "Hey, just keep doing what you're doing because you're a
Yeah.
smaller part of the business, but like we can keep you funded." And that means the next Mortal Kombat's going to be really good, or the next Injustice is going to be
Yeah.
really good. Whatever Rocksteady's working on next is going to be
Mhm.
really good. Fingers
That's what I
crossed
wanna
they
talk about.
start doing stuff. Okay, go ahead. Go ahead.
That's what I wanna talk about the path forward. So, what's coming out immediately for this group is and it's a game it also happens to be a game that I'm personally very excited for, is the Lego Batman game, Legacy of the Dark Knight.
Yes. Yep.
And they can kind of use that, even though that's technically probably gonna release before this
It'll
deal is
absolutely release
official.
before this is official. Yeah.
Netflix is still gonna, like, be keeping an eye on this stuff because, that's what they're acquiring, that's what they're paying for. And I think if that game has a really nice launch, if it surpasses expectations critically and sales wise, then it's like I think that signals, hey, if we let Rocksteady go back to doing what they were doing and make like the game they want to make and not the game they were kind of pressured to make, I think they've got a lot thing there. I think that's there's a lot of potential. I mean, a return to form for Rocksteady would be I think that's a moneymaker. And of course, still a long ways away, Avalanche is working on a sequel to Hogwarts Legacy.
That is true. Yeah.
That is literally one of the best-selling games of all time. Um, I mean that there's a lot to work with. And then what else were we talking about? That you talking about NetherRealm, Rocksteady, the Traveler's Tales that's coming out immediately. And I mean these Lego games are the Lego games franchise is one of the most successful in a long time. Like all these games do really well, and I really think this Batman game could be the best of the bunch. So I mean, if they see this and think, okay, like we've got a path to make some cool stuff here. I mean, they, again, say what you want about the company and their price hikes and some of the ways they do business. They make good stuff, and when they realize they can make a lot of money by making good stuff, and they've been doing that for years. I just watched Frankenstein.
Yeah.
Excellent, loved
There's
it. One of my
they
favorite
still
movies of
talk
the year.
they talk about the second screen slop that they want to make. They talk about like there's some AI stuff they've talked about. Like there's all these big companies are doing the same kind of like they're all going to create the
Mhm,
slop. The degree of the
mhm,
slop is going to vary. They're already doing
mhm.
the second screen stuff. They're not going to stop doing that because that's a type of content that is popular nowadays. But they also do still create things that matter and
Yeah,
fun things that matter and
Strange,
let creatives do
Stranger
their stuff.
Things, Stranger Things. I mean, just in the past couple years,
Yeah,
Stranger Things,
list off your stuff.
K-pop Demon
I
Hunters,
want to go grab something to
Squid
make a
Game,
point. So keep going.
Squid Game, Frankenstein. I mean, I should surprisingly don't watch as much Netflix stuff as I claim to watch. Just because I play games more now than I'll stream stuff. But like, um, the Castlevania series, fucking rules. Witcher series. I know it's kind of I know it's not as good as because Henry Cavill's gone. But I mean, they just there's so much there's so yeah, there's a lot of there's it's a lot. It's definitely it's rare that you can see someone pull off quantity and quality. But they've actually done it. It's actually pretty impressive their catalog. I just want a brief aside. I saw some people like being like from over in wrestling Twitter being like, "Oh, good, this is the death of AEW." It's like you guys are stupid. For context, All Elite Wrestling
Yeah,
is has a partnership with Warner Brothers Discovery. They have a deal with Warner Brothers and Discovery because it broadcasts on the TBS and TNT network, and then it's also streamed on HBO Max. And you can also buy the pay per views HBO Max as well. And so some and so I saw some crazy people being like, "Oh, well, Netflix owns WWE, so they're gonna merge them." It's like, no, that's not no, they don't own they have a deal with WWE. But like, that'd be really actually would be really funny if you could watch AEW on Netflix, but I don't think that's gonna happen. And I mean, I'll here's the thing, I'll buy any subscription service where AEW is. Fucking love that company. Um, but yeah, what were you gonna get to prove
Oh yeah, I was gonna
your
say,
point?
now that we have this, and there are already rumors of 11 being involved, uh, from Stranger Things as a character in this. Can we bring it back? Is that an option? Hey, Netflix.
Netflix, listen, you've got so much. I mean, let's look. I mean, hey, I'll double down. Netflix, one of the best, one of the best action adventure games, one of the coolest in-game systems ever is Shadow of Mordor, Shadow of
Do they
War.
own the rights to the games
Dude,
anymore though?
well, Warner Brothers owns Warner Brothers would own it,
Is
so
it an Embracer?
Netflix, get out the check again. You need one more, just one more check.
Well,
Trust me, this will work.
let's.
But what they do own. I guess technically Netflix does now own the Nemesis system, and if
Ooh,
it's
you're
not going to be
right.
the Lord of the Rings game,
Okay, well,
fine.
well,
But now there's a lot of things that
yeah,
could
but
be applied
Monolith's
to.
already dead, so you can't really like revive the Wonder Woman game. I mean, they could, but like that'd take a lot of effort, and I don't think they're gonna do that.
Yeah, I mean, but also like, yeah, it would take a lot of effort, but also like they could. I mean, like,
Well,
listen,
the
we know the games industry. It's hard to find work, so I'm sure a lot of I'm sure a lot of the monolith
yeah, you're
people,
not
if
wrong.
Netflix, hey, you want to come back?
So here's the thing. Whatever happens with the Nemesis system, and if the Wonder Woman game gets revived, cool. Multiverse isn't coming back. That's gone. The player first game is gone. That's
No,
just
believe,
look.
Cale.
Look, I just had I forgot I had the jacket because I washed it. Because I found it in my closet when I was cleaning out because they sent that to me. That's one of the packages I got when
A
I was
lone tear rolls down your eye.
yeah,
Like,
like well, to be fair, I'm talking about Multiverses pre full launch because the launch game of the launch version of Multiverses I did not enjoy playing. The beta version that they had the open beta for the like 6 months or whatever, I really enjoyed that. That's the version I would like. I don't think that game's coming back. But 11 was rumored to be a character coming to that game as DLC already before all this. So, um we'll table that. The idea here is that I wish I would have thought ahead when I thought of talking about the game section to bring that in, so I didn't have to run to my laundry room to grab it off a hanger. But yeah, the point is, I want to know where they want to go with this because I don't think we just don't have a clear enough picture of what Netflix wants to do with games. Game IP,
mhm.
sure. Probably gonna get a lot of cool IP like tie-in stuff with the game franchises that they do have. Maybe they'll do some like additional content with like the Arkham verse as like a show or Mortal Kombat getting a little bit more like content, I guess. But Warner Brothers wasn't even like a game company in that way. So like it was already a small part of what Warner Brothers was, and Netflix definitely didn't do this deal with gaming in mind. So that's going to be the biggest question mark here. Who knows? We might end up in a couple. We might end up. They keep Rocksteady. They keep what Warner WB Montreal,
Land. Mhm.
and then keep Avalanche working on the Harry Potter thing. And then they're like, yeah, we don't really need Mortal Kombat. Let's sell that IP and make sure we have the license for it to have the streaming rights to that stuff, and then we sell that to like Sony or something.
Yeah, I'd see them keeping. I'd see them keeping
I
Traveler's
think they're gonna
Tales just
I think they're gonna keep all four for at least a while.
yeah, I think so too.
I think they're
Yeah.
gonna try and see. Like we don't know what NetherRealms is working on next, but we're probably pretty close to getting an announcement because it's been 3 years. They're usually on like a 4-year cycle. If it's
Mhm.
Injustice, we'll probably hear about it soon. I don't think it's gonna be another Mortal Kombat right away. But the movie's coming out next year, so Mortal Kombat 2
That's
is
right.
coming out next year, so maybe they announce it around then or something like that. Because Mortal Kombat 1 was such a here and there. Like it happened and then it kind of fizzled and hasn't really captured the same love that 11 had or 10 had or even 9 had. So, and I'm not a Mortal Kombat guy, so I don't even keep up with stuff like that. But I think that's where we can leave that part of the discussion. We will
Mhm.
mention that Paramount is very pissed about this because they were allegedly offering a lot more money in terms of like now they're launching like a hostile takeover bid. Like they're trying to appeal to the powers
Mm.
that be, appeal to the shareholders of WB Discovery and be like, hey, you could get more money if you let us do it, and you can like tell the people in charge of of the company to not do this. And it sounds like
They're
they're not backing
offering
down.
they're offering more money, but they're also, like, they wanna buy the whole thing as opposed to,
They
like,
want to buy the whole.
they wanna get the
They
whole thing,
they want to buy the Discovery
including the
portion of
discovery
it because
part
they want to
that would be
control.
split off.
This company
Yeah.
is evil. Like this is not a exaggeration. Like
Mm.
even if you're on the political side that is like supportive of them censoring speech and not doing content that talks about specific things or whatever, like even if you're on that side, this is an evil company that is trying to control what you consume in like ways that shouldn't be allowed. But because of how money talks and these
Mhm.
connections that the people in charge of this company have, they can talk that way. They can do these things. So Paramount said its decision to go hostile. This is from uh, Michelle Chapman and Bernard Condon over at AP, the AP News. In its appeal to shareholders, Paramount noted its offer also contains more cash from the Netflix has billed $18 more, $18 billion more. It's $18 more. That'd be really funny. And
Oh,
argued
$18.
it's more likely to pass scrutiny from President Donald Trump's administration. I wonder why that is. A big
Mm.
concern given his habit of injecting himself in American businesses. And he even just the other day was asked about this and said, "Oh, I'll definitely be involved in that decision." It's like the fact that he can just say that when he should have no
Mhm.
say in this, in terms like the
Yeah,
governing
because
bodies, like
he has to be involved in things because because he wants the credit. Because when things if he wants credit for things that have nothing to do with him, and even if he doesn't get credit for it, he wants to be involved somehow. So people are talking about him. It's just how he's been for his entire life, ever since he got into politics.
yeah,
So yeah, it's I hope Netflix I hope Warner Bros. Just like, no, we're good.
I think
We're
they're
fine
going
over
to.
here.
It sounds from everything that's being said like they're gonna reject that bid and go with Netflix. I think it's both because of they don't really care about the worry of the approval, and also they want to split Warner Brothers and Discovery up
Mhm,
and do this deal separately. So it sounds like
mhm.
both ways. I'm gonna laugh when David
Yeah.
Zaslav is in charge of Discovery, and just continues to run that into the ground while the WB stuff goes to Netflix. And then there's also the reports. This is from uh, several different sources, but also Bloomberg specifically. Um, that Netflix was considering buying both EA and Disney at different points. The Disney one's a little more surprising. The EA has been talking about acquisitions and from
Mhm.
big media companies like Comcast and even Disney at one point for
Mhm.
years. And then obviously it just happened where they got bought out by Saudi Arabia.
E
So
EA's just like, "Please, someone buy us, please."
yeah, like it's a lot. It's a lot. But yeah, apparently, so this is from the Bloomberg report. This is being written up by how do you pronounce Sam's name? Sam Sepiol over at Insider Gaming. I don't know how to
Uh,
pronounce his last name.
that's a good
Yeah, I don't know how to pronounce his last name, but this is
question.
over from Insider Gaming.
Sam.
Yeah, shout out Sam. But this is a new Bloomberg report about Netflix CEO wooing Trump ahead of Warner Brothers bid. Says the company considered acquisitions of EA, Disney, and Fox. It first talks about how Netflix is an unlikely bidder, as co-founder and chairman Reed Hastings avoids major deals to build things from scratch. Company management debated pursuing just about every major asset put up for sale, including EA and Fox. They also considered acquiring Disney at one point. However, the executives could never coalesce behind a deal. So just talks about it. The EA one probably was a little more serious than the Disney one because the Disney one would have been much more
Mm,
serious and much more
yeah.
involved, especially considering all their physical stuff, like their parks and everything. That's a whole different ballpark
Mhm.
of
Netflix world.
yeah. Well, I mean,
They do it.
yeah.
They do it.
And then
I think Mike Minotti at Giant Bomb might would go on a warpath if that happened.
look, there's no living ethically in media spaces at this point.
You can't.
It's
You
just
can't.
impossible unless you're just like only consuming stuff on Steam and it's all independently made. Like that's the only
If you are
route.
good for you, we salute you.
Yeah.
We salute you for your sacrifice.
And then just add salt on the wound a little bit about acquisitions before we move on to the next topic. Saudi Arabia's PIF will own 93% of EA after proposed buyout, with the rest of the consortium taking a much smaller share. This is from Chris Scullion over at VGC. I'm not even going to read much further than this. This is just reporting on how the deal will actually shape up to what EA's future will be in terms of who owns the most shares, who's got the controlling stake. We already knew the PIF was going to have the controlling stake. This is not a surprise. We knew something like this was going to happen. Makes total sense for what the deal is going to be. Sure, like it sucks, but it's already in the books basically. That's another one that's not fully approved,
Mm-hmm.
but we're at a point where it's probably going to happen. They're acting like it's going to happen. Get ready for more. Get ready for more announcements about that. Get ready for more business decisions based around that. Get ready for the layoffs that are going to come once that hits, and get ready for the absolute just like maggot infested heads of the people running that company to be like, thanks for generating shareholder value for our company so we could get this done. Bye. And then
Mm-hmm.
firing thousands of people. So
Yeah.
that sucks. I mean, this isn't really like a transition to happier news, but you want to talk about a little bit of esports stuff and Marvel Rivals for a little bit?
I feel like we play enough Marvel Rivals,
Yeah.
and we enough and plenty, too much maybe.
Too much Marvel Rivals.
And I feel like we have such background. It's like for how much we play Marvel Rivals and how deeply entrenched in esports our background is. The fact that we have not really talked a lot about either
The fun
is
fact
kind
is,
of surprising.
the reason is pretty simple. There's not much to talk about in terms of interest level, in terms of how they're running it. Like we've seen it all before.
Yeah.
The company putting the big money in for like a little bit, the initial hype cycle of a new game,
Yep.
the interest from the teams, the interest from the players, and then over the course of like a 6-month period, it all sizzles. Like it's they have it on a high, it's burning really well. The food's cooking real good at first, and then they don't clean off the griddle, so the oil starts to like
Yeah.
burn, like all that kind of stuff.
Yeah. For what we're talking about here is we're talking about the current state of Marvel Rivals esports scene. Marvel Rivals, the game, just celebrated its 1 year anniversary, or it's currently celebrating its 1 year anniversary. So it is still relatively early in this game's life cycle. And they're clearly the way. And so the reason I want to bring this up was because over during holiday break and during November, we saw a number of North American organizations, big names in esports, um, we've not necessarily gone forever, but seems like they, for the time being, are not interested in being in Marvel Rivals esports anymore. Well, in its current state, this is Sentinels, who really popular North American org, big in Valorant, now expanding to League of Legends, rumored to be going to Counter Strike next year. Envy, really legacy organization, been around for a long time. Went away for a little while because part of this merger with Optic Gaming. Mike or Hastro recently reacquired the assets and the brand and all the stuff, relaunched this past year. And 100 Thieves, which is LA based, founded by Nate Shot. They all left Marvel Rivals this past November after being in it for essentially close to a year. All NA based too, because I noticed I was looking at some of the other organizations like Navi and Virtus Pro. Virtus Pro just won the most recent the big tournament they just had, the Marvel Rivals Ignite. The other European organizations still kicking. Fnatic was in and out, and then had had a team on loan for a weird amount of time. So I thought, oh man, is Marvel Rivals over? And then I also saw, and then I thought, oh, maybe it is, because I saw this is from Votable, who is a prominent Marvel Rivals caster, does a lot of collegiate Marvel Rivals casting work, pointing out that the signups for the Marvel Rivals Championship, which is their in-game mode, for this season is like the lowest yet. There's like only 135 factions in total had signed up for this. This is a tweet he made this morning.
Is that total or is that per like one region? Is that just NA? That might just be an
My
A.
guess is that would just be an A, but still, I
It's
believe
still
it is
really
the
low.
lowest it's been. Still really low.
Yeah.
And so he asked the question: Has there not been enough promotion? Are people busy with the holidays, with exams coming up, or is there no incentive for the lower ranked teams to compete anymore? And I really do think it is a bit of a mix of all three of them.
Mm.
Obviously, the holidays you can count a little bit for that, but I also think that there hasn't been enough promotion. I think with I think a big reason these orgs are exiting is because there's not really a set structure or system yet, or like a long-term sustainable system. I mean, will it ever be sustainable? Because here's the thing: I've always said that esports is very much should be considered a marketing arm of
The
all of
game,
these
yeah,
games,
100%.
and you shouldn't go into and any publisher or developer that goes into esports for their game thinking, oh, this is a way for us to make more money. Are you should not be thinking that, and I'd like to hope that there's not anyone who does think that, because I think they would
There were
not
for a
be
while,
very
but
good for the job.
at this point, there was a period where it
At
was
this point, no, yeah.
not, no, this is just for the hype and the excitement and helping the community and getting the community to grow in a unique competitive way. Then there was the period of big growth, big tech money, big all this other stuff where people were like, oh yeah, we can get into esports for this, like organizations, companies, and then
Mhm.
also developers being like, we can get on this esports thing, you make a ton of money and blah blah blah. And then now we're back to, if you think the middle part of that timeline, you're wrong, and you should be feel bad for it, and we're not going to be sad when you get kicked in the nuts because you think you're going to make a shit ton of money.
Um, yeah, so I think a big reason the reason these orgs are out now is because, and Sentinels, I think in particular, Rob Moore has been pretty forthcoming about this, is that there is no partner system. There's no way for teams to make money other than,
Yeah.
you know, in terms of like, I mean, you can attract, maybe you can attract new sponsors, but I feel like that's not enough money. Prize pool is nothing to like, you cannot sustainably, like, if you're a big organization, you cannot sustainably go, oh well, we plan to make money off prize money. Like that's insane. Like the only games that work is like Dota and Counter Strike with like majors and TI,
Yep.
where it's like you can expect a certain amount if you make the money or if you do certain things. And then with Valorant and League of Legends, obviously it's a partner system. There's some shared revenue. There's some in-game item activation. Um, my, but it does seem like I still do think that NetEase long term is maybe considering something. So because I saw over the past week they said that they are planning to launch a caster program for people to find new casters for next year. Now maybe that's just them trying to like find newer casters so they can pay them less, potentially.
Probably
Hopefully it's not the
both.
case and they just want to like, but also like, there's probably a lot of, I feel like a lot of casters, especially the ones who aren't like, a lot of casters will try different games, and then if that game does become a set established esport, then there are going to be casters that kind of go to the top and they become like the established like big name casters in that
Voices
game.
you're going to see. Yeah.
And if
At all the
and
majors
if
and all
you
the big
don't
events.
reach that top tier and that sustainability and those long term tournaments, and like, ones who end up getting hired by Riot or Blizzard or Valve or whoever, or not by Valve, but by the prominent
The production
tier
companies. Yeah.
certain organizers, and yeah, like ESL and Blast and all these groups, PGL, Starladder. You kind of then, you keep working, maybe do some of the lower tier stuff, but then if their new game comes up, everyone goes and try, as they should, because it's like it's grass, new fields, new opportunities. um but my take from this is that I do think they do want to do something in the future. I think the way they've been doing it this year is just the idea of, it's like, well, we want to do something because people want to play, and we can try and maybe gauge the interest in it. Um, and so they just kind of said, well, we'll do this Ignite series, we'll do these tournaments, blah blah blah. Um, but I think something bigger eventually could happen, and I think we will see some of these orgs come back. Maybe not all of them. It depends. It has to be something like a partner program. It has to be something that involves in-game items. It has to be something
It has
that
to be more
involves,
involved. It has to be more involved.
yeah.
So for this mentions the lower tiers. They're not lower like the lower ranked teams. Is there not incentive to compete? Well, if there's not an opportunity for growth, There's not really an opportunity for sponsorship. There's not really an opportunity to get money off of it. So, and then all the people that are just casually competing in this or signing up to compete and building teams, they don't really get much out of it. Like in terms of like, there's not really any specialty in-game stuff like of consequence.
Yeah.
Now you can't like offer skins and stuff. Now, if you do like the partner program for the bigger
Mhm.
teams and the orgs and the big events, that's one way to help fund those events and help fund the
The
teams and stuff.
the in-game MRC circuit does offer some prize money, doesn't it not?
It
I
does,
feel like it
but
does.
I don't the specific, but it's still
It's
not
not
enough to like
it's not for
incentivize.
like pro careers, like people who can like, oh, I'm going to be like essentially support myself by competing in the
No,
Marvel Rivals Championship
absolutely
in-game
not.
events. Yeah, you can't. Yeah, no, no, no.
My
But I think that's on purpose.
it
I mean,
is.
obviously, if you're putting that much, because one, they don't want to be putting that much money
Well,
into like the essentially like it's
so
like Valorant's
here's
premier system. It's like you can't put that, but I mean that also, I mean Valorant's premier system to its point also has like promotion. Hypothetically, you could compete in premier and
they
work your way up to the highest tier of Valorant esports.
it feels
Completely
like
different stuff.
Marvel Rivals doesn't know what it wants to be competitively in terms of do they want to
Yeah,
run a league
that's
with
it.
like promotions. They had the two big LAN events already that were
Mhm.
supported and funded and everything by NetEase and their team. So they have an idea of what they want the bigger events to look like, but do they want to do like how Riot does their stuff? Do they want to do like how Dota does its stuff where it's just like team invites to these third part? Do they want to like help host
Mhm.
third party events where those people do their thing and then they have their own internal scoring system to how they invite people, or they have their own qualifiers like they've been doing? Do they want to run it like how Valve did
Mhm.
for the couple years where they had the Dota Pro circuit in terms of like each individual region had their own like circuits run by
Mhm.
people, and then those equated to points, and then the majors are tied into that, and they
Kind of
need to
what's kind of what Siege does right now.
exactly, yeah. So
Mhm.
they need to find out how they want to run their league, if they want to run a league or if they want to just have it be a scene.
Mhm.
They need to be very explicit in how they're talking about they're supporting the events that aren't their own in terms of like the third party stuff, and try and incentivize people to have and host those third party events. They really need to find out better ways to broadcast the game, because they have not nailed the Overwatch
Mhm. That's
viewability
it.
of the game. Like I don't watch a lot of Marvel Rivals esports because I'd rather watch a streamer play the game with their group of
Mhm.
people, because it's a consistent talking
Mhm.
and a consistent communication
It's
versus the
very hectic.
it is a
It's very
messy
hectic.
it is a messy esport, which isn't a bad thing. There are messy esports. Like MOBAs are messy esports by nature, but I don't think they've matched these casters can explain everything that's going on. We have the camera work to do the exact same thing. We have the terminology um to do these things. Like there's just a bunch. It's year one. We just passed year one. The
Mhm.
esports have only really existed for about 8 months of that. So giving them grace for that. They
Mhm.
just need to find out and iron out these issues. But at the same time, we talked about like how they're going to fund it, or they're worried about like potentially putting too much money into it. They just launched that I was talking about this in the Discord where we play Marvel Rivals a lot with our friends. They
Mhm.
started the slippery slope of the gotcha,
Mm.
because that's a thing that a lot of games have done where it's like, okay,
Yeah.
yeah. Now, they've publicly broadcasted that this is how many units it takes to completely get everything in here. That's the max amount it will take, but it's still gotcha that cost units, and that the units that you can purchase for real
I
world
gotta
money, and
I
they've
gotta check
already
on that.
started
Keep going.
doing uh but they've already started doing all this stuff. So like it's a very slippery slope of, okay, they had the battle pass, they have the in-game currency, premium currency, they have the battle pass that is only purchasable with the in-game currency, the premium stuff, which you can earn from the battle pass, to be fair. But like for me, I play enough Marvel Rivals to where I can purchase the entire battle pass without having to spend a lot of money on in-game currency, because I complete the full battle pass and I can kind of reinvest, quote unquote. But the skins cost money or units, so the grind can be in-game, the grind can be, or you can just buy. And now they have premium only, like bi-weekly passes essentially, that have current cosmetics and stuff that are exclusive to that, and sure they'll be in the store eventually, or some of the stuff you don't really might not really want. There's always a free skin involved, but it's premium only, so you have to pay for it. Whether that's through the units you or the lattice you earn through the battle pass, or you purchase it. That's the only way to get it. And now they're doing a gotcha mechanic, even though it's using the in-game currency that you can get for free, the units. It's still a slippery slope, and I am concerned about the level at which they are starting to monetize this game, because it feels like they're trying to start milking it a little bit, where before it felt good, a good balance of you can buy the skins, you can buy the battle pass, and the battle pass you buy it once, you have it forever. You can complete it at your own pace, all that stuff. I am concerned about the level at which this man, I don't even know the right word for it. The monetization worries me, because I've seen this with Pokemon Unite. Overwatch had issues with it. A bunch of games have issues with how much they monetize their game, or how much they add mechanics that are involved in the microtransactions. So I just finished my point, so we're good to move on. I was just like ranting about how concerned I am about the rate at which they're adding things that monetize the game. The premium battle pass, the premium like bi-weekly battle passes that they're doing, where they
Mm-hmm.
have a free skin, sure, but also you can only buy the in-game currency that's premium. And then also this new
Mm-hmm.
gotcha mechanic that even though they use the free currency that you can
Mm-hmm.
get, it's
The
still,
the special event stuff, yeah.
yeah, well, even just it's just units. You don't have to use lattice for it. So
Yeah. So you can
like
get that from battle passes
yeah,
and
like
missions and
I still
special
think it's
events,
at
yeah.
a good place and better than a lot of games, but I'm worried about where the monetization of the game
Slippery
is
slope,
leading to.
yeah.
So, but
Yeah, I
yeah,
mean, here's the thing: them being able to make money means more likely that they would pursue a more serious esports circuit. Because I think that's kind of why they have been kind of hesitant to jump right in, because they want to. I mean, they've made it to a year, still very popular, still lots of players, still people funneling in to buy battle pass, buy skins, things like that. So how much more runway do they need before they really want to take off with this thing, or do they just want to maybe they just keep it at this like kind of like pro slash semi pro level? Maybe it's just maybe we don't see like big orgs invest a lot and stay long term. Maybe we see
I
them come in and out, pick up teams right before like a big tournament, and then just kind of let them go after. We'll see. But
think they
it's
want to
definitely
be
something to
like
keep an eye
Dota.
on.
I think that's the. I don't think they're talking like that, but I think the end goal here is they want to be like Dota, where
Mhm.
they get to put on the big tournaments that they want, like the big MRC. Like they'll have their in-game events, and then they'll have like ways for you to compete in the game and get a little bit of stuff. They'll support the third party people doing the tournaments, the TOs, the broadcasters and stuff, and then they'll be like, okay, cool, we're gonna put on like the one or two big tournaments a year, and that's it. I think that's what they want. The least amount of full time investment that they need for their team to do that, because I don't
Yeah.
think they have the infrastructure for it. I don't know if they
Mhm.
want to build it out,
They'd have
but
they'd have to hire it out and spend money on it, and maybe they don't like actually get um maybe that, because they don't want the thing what they want to avoid is investing a whole lot of money in infrastructure, and then it's not as popular as they had maybe hoped it was, and then it's like, well, now we're kind of stuck in doing this for a certain amount of time, or now we're stuck operating this at a loss. And um I know, Peter, I'm curious to see what happens too.
but yeah, I don't know. I don't think they know what they want to do yet, or if they do, they haven't
Peter
really had
Parker
time to.
is here, and he says, "Why are there not more legendary Spider-Man skins? Even though there are already, Peter, there are already so many. There are already so many legendary skins. You don't need any more."
Oh, he's mad at you for saying that.
I know.
Don't worry,
So
Peter.
greedy.
There'll be another
So greedy.
Spider-Man skin in this next season, probably.
Probably, yeah.
So you won't have to wait long.
Uh,
We also won't have to wait long, Scott, to hear about more stupid people talking about AI. I'm gonna try and
it,
speedrun a
it,
lot of
it doesn't
this.
feel like AI shame corner. It feels like AI shame four corners because we're stuck in a room and we can't get out.
Yeah,
They
well,
just keep dumping more.
the walls are closing in, Scott. It's getting harder and harder to escape. And according to Epic boss Tim Sweeney, He doesn't want you to be able to escape. He wants everything to not have to disclose that it's using AI. So this is from last week. I'm going to try and speed run a couple of these topics just because there's a lot of them and I'm tired. I want to get to some fun stuff at the end. But and I crashed out on AI pretty hard in our last episode, so I'm gonna keep it measured,
There was
even
a
though
lot.
these
There
people
was
are
a
all
lot last
stupid.
episode. There was a lot to get through.
Yeah. So this is from
Invalid.
GamesIndustry.biz, Alex Forbes Calvin, talking about just a Twitter post from Tim Sweeney who just says the stupidest stuff about this stuff. He's so out of touch. He's complaining about like Steam making people like games and publishers and developers disclose that they use AI generated content in their games, and he's like, it makes no sense that the industry like that they're making us flag content because AI is going to be part of everything and all ways the games are made. Specifically, this is the quote: "The AI tag is relevant to art exhibits for authorship disclosure and to digital content licensing marketplaces where buyers need to understand the right situation. It makes no sense for game stores where AI will be involved in nearly all future production. Uh, since January, and this is back to GBiz speaking, since January 2024, Valve allowed the vast majority of games using AI on Steam platforms, but requires developers to disclose how the tech has been used. This is how we learn a bunch of things about how AI is used for like voice stuff, for music or visuals and all that stuff. This is how we learn about it a lot of the time. Um, just a whole bunch of stuff like that. This is not the only, because basically every platform except for like Nintendo, PlayStation, Xbox require this.
Mhm.
All the Epic doesn't either, so I guess not all of them. But
No.
like Itch, I think GOG does it. Steam definitely does it. So like, you can tell. Uh, AI. This is just, Sweeney just loves AI. All these tech bro CEOs love AI. They want to
Mhm.
make sure they want to try and make it as like synonymous as possible with everything in the industry. They want to make sure that people can't escape it. So this is stupid. That's stupid. He's stupid. Uh, I want to know if the things I'm consuming are made with any type of AI, because depending
Yeah.
on the level of it, I'm
Mhm.
not going to consume your stuff. Like
Yeah.
I'm
I
staunchly
think.
against it.
Yeah. I think like because I think the argument he's trying to make, and I'm not writing PR for Tim Sweeney
Yeah,
right now,
I
but
understand where you're going with this.
I
Yeah,
I I think the idea he's trying to make is like, oh well, people use like because we've talked about how it's okay how like in certain situations like when it comes to like AI as like a tool to like for game dev, it's like it can be okay in certain scenarios if developers are okay with it. If it's not being used to replace people or creative work, then it can be okay. But I would like to know what that is and how it's used for your game before I buy it. And he's pretty much trying to get rid of the whole tagging system in
he's
general
trying to make it.
because
It's the same thing that people are doing with the term AI
yeah,
in general, and it's too late for it to go away because AI is synonymous with generative AI now. That's what
mhm.
the generative AI people wanted. They wanted AI as a term to be hello Peter. Uh they
He's purring a lot. You love AI, don't you?
yeah,
You
oh
love
god,
it.
he loves Spider-Man skins and loves AI. Uh but no, the point he's trying to
You're the
make,
worst kind of gamer, Peter.
it's a good thing it doesn't have opposable thumbs. Uh AI has been around for so long in different scenarios and different subsects of tech and different subsects of industries. And now it is synonymous with generative AI because that's what the tech bros that were running these generative AI companies and these companies that are trying to replace people's jobs with AI want. They want it to be synonymous with the term because if you can differentiate tool assisted AI or AI in terms of what's in your computer chips or what's in a video games, like what's in like learning algorithms for the AI that has been in your video games since the earliest time of video games. Like that stuff is different from what generative AI is. But if you can differentiate that, then they can't just put AI as a buzzword everywhere and make billions and trillions of dollars off of this new like the new fancy thing. So it sucks. It's stupid.
Yeah. Mhm.
And it's not going anywhere. And we also learned, and this gets in the next story of the new Let It Die game, with Let It Die Inferno, which is Let It Die is like was a really niche kind of interesting grasshopper manufacturer game, that was like just like a killing game kind of multiplayer thing. It's really interesting. A lot of people have good memories of it, but it was like very like smallish in terms of what it was. But the sequel uses AI for basically everything. Uses AI. It is not so. It's Suda 51's Grasshopper manufacturer did make it, but then it spun off, and now this is being. It was published by Gung Ho back then. It's being published and developed by people that were working on the original. Still published by Suda's and Grasshopper are not involved. That they have nothing to do with this. They probably don't care about it at all. So don't get it conflated that this is all Suda's team or Grasshopper. Which, by the way, Romeo is a Dead Man got a release date. I'm super pumped about that. That's coming out in February. Let's go. But it had to disclose on the listings when this got announced at the Sony State of Play that it uses AI. AI generated content has been used and then edited by our team for certain parts of game and in-game voices, music, and graphics. The music was the big one here because people love the Let It Die soundtrack, and they're super mad that it was using it for AI there. This content apparently includes background signboard, textures, records, illustrations, infocast videos, and voices and music. Blah blah. This is obvious. I'm reading this part of the article from Robert Purchase over at Eurogamer. Obviously, we don't know the scale. Don't know what it was. This was announced in September. Details started coming out. Pre-orders started coming out. Blah blah blah. People were really mad. People were really upset, especially because this is like not an indie darling, but like a small niche darling of a game getting a really weird sequel that nobody really expected. Now we have clarification. This is from Ethan Gach over at Kotaku, where this is the studio speaking generally about like kind of giving more clarity to what specifics of AI were used, which is good. This is the kind of clarity we want. This is the kind we don't want AI in general, but if you're going to use it, and we can't stop you from doing that, then we want the disclosure of what it is. This has already basically screwed the game. Like this game is not like a bunch of people who are fans of the original aren't going to buy it because of the AI stuff. So we'll see how extensive that goes. But the idea here is, does it say who specifically says that? It just says the studio. So this is over on Steam. This is being pulled from Eurogamer and from Kotaku. AI generated content has been used and then edited by our team for certain parts of the in-game voice, music, and graphics. Some parts of the background signboard textures, some parts of the infocast videos, some parts of the voice and music. So what was said before, specifying the planning team developed the concepts and text, ensuring they matched the game's world and setting. Based on these ideas, the art team designed the backgrounds, art, and used an AI tool that observes copyright laws and only generates rough base images, which were painted over, refined, and adjusted by hand. Shared some examples that you can go look at on Steam or any of these articles. These specific cases use AI-generated voices. This is going into the voices part of it. These specific cases use AI-generated voices intentionally to match the nature of the characters. These voices are not derived from or modeled after any human performers, ensuring no copyright concerns. Characters include an AI-driven machine called Mom and a mysterious life form called Gaz and Mez, which is hilarious because that's a Dragon Ball reference, I'm pretty sure. And then about music, only one track called Iron Perch BGM was made with the help of AI-based music editor and used AI-based music editor and used to generate each stem. Once all stems were exported, few were manually edited, but most were rebuilt from scratch. I didn't explain why the choice was made, but as with the other examples, it points to generative AI being a much smaller part of the thing than it first suggested. That doesn't matter to me. The fact that you're using it at all in those instances, some of those are less offensive than others, but generative AI is still generative AI. Like, where do they pull the information from? Like, yeah, you're observing copyright laws, but where do they train it? How do they train it? What was licensed?
Like, yeah, but them saying like, "Oh, it wasn't derived or modeled after any human performers." It's like
Then
that's
how
the
are you getting a
problem. Is like
voice?
we're not using we're not using humans. So
Yeah,
that's the whole big
that's
reason
the
that people
issue.
don't like it.
Like, I don't get it. I don't understand it. Will never understand this. I will not be supporting this game. I probably wasn't going to get it anyways, but now there's no way in hell I'm doing anything for it or with it. So, the clarification is nice. The usage case with the explanation is good. They provided some examples for the art part of it, which is nice, but like that doesn't change it. That doesn't change anything. That just means that you were specific in your use cases. And now get into another story here that we're going to speed run through a little bit. This is from Chris Scullion over at VGC. with this was from a Sega Q&A for their financial reports.
Mhm.
Sega says it will use AI in game development, but only in appropriate use cases. Which, again, that doesn't change anything.
Could be.
Yeah. So
It's so
this is
vague.
this is how a lot of companies are treating it. I remember Phil Spencer's comments are kind of like this too, where who so this is does it say who? This is just the company answering a Q&A, not a specific person. Rather than fully following the trend toward the large-scale development, we will pursue efficiency improvements such as leveraging AI. The company official answer reads when asked about AI. However, as AI adoption can face strong resistance in creative areas such as character creation, we will proceed by carefully assesses appropriate use cases such as streamlining development process. Um, there are many people who claim the artwork generated by AI. This is a graphic designer talking about it from an unnamed Japanese studio, saying that we've actually ended up hiring people only to find they weren't productive, which led to several problems because of AI stuff.
Hmm.
So, hey Sega, don't because you literally in your thing say, however, as adoption can face strong resistance to creative areas. Yeah, because no one wants that slop in their creative areas because this is a slippery slope. We've used that term
Mhm.
so many times talking about this. You're going to start
Mhm.
by trying. This is the whole argument we had that one when we had the revolt inside of gamers about them posting that AI
Mm.
editor position or whatever, and everybody
Fun time.
stopped working for a day and was arguing with people in the goddamn water cooler chat, and a bunch of us got pulled into calls by the higher ups because they were worried about like our reaction to it and why we were so strongly opposed, because they were like, oh, we're just going to use it for the guides that no one wants to write, we're just going to use it for the daily Wordle stuff and whatever. I'm like, yeah, no one wants to write that because it sucks to write, but you're going to start there and then you're not going to stop there, and we
Yeah,
know that,
absolutely. Yeah.
and you're treating us like we're stupid.
Yeah, that was the biggest issue. It's like we absolutely knew what they were
And we're
they were
here
planning, and
now. Like, I didn't post about it because didn't have time to go verify it. But I was looking up my old dot esports articles when I found out ESI nuked. Like ESI got nuked. I was like looking up some stuff to go save that I really wanted to save the full article page for from the dot days, just off the top of my head. And it looks like someone at dot, like it looks like some dot people. There's some dot pages that are just AI people that are like being credited with articles about like the gambling and the whatever the new owners of Dot are doing that are just AI writers that don't exist. SI did it or tried to do it
yeah.
and got caught doing it. They're going to try again because these companies don't care. They want to generate this content. They're going to continue to try and force this down people's throat because they know that they can probably get away with it to a certain scale and replace actual jobs doing it. So when Sega says this, we have to take a stance and say, no, if your game has AI in it at any full scale issue, Let It Die Inferno, regardless of how small their stuff is using, they're admitting to using it directly in the creative process and letting it replace a voice actor or letting it replace. Now, the art stuff is different because they're saying that they used it. Now, I don't want them to do this in general because it impacts the creative process and isn't as genuine as someone doing the full work or hiring someone to do the initial concepts and do this. I don't know how the process for them works, but at least that they admit to not having the AI just do the artwork. But for the voice actors, yeah, it might fit the characters, but you're replacing a job. Someone could have gotten hired to do that job and it would have been better than just using an AI voice. Like that's all the stupid stuff about the AI actors in Hollywood that are being pursued by talent agencies. That if anything like that in any part, if there's any part of the creative process that is fully influenced or touched, or if there's a creative area in your game that has some part touched in the major facet by AI, generative AI, I will not touch your game.
It's funny you bring up the Hollywood AI actors. I know like people like, oh, they've been signed to agencies already. It's like, yeah, because agencies are desperate to sign anyone. But like, are production companies and film studios really gonna like
We'll find out.
use that? I don't think they will because
You,
it's like you still want people to go to the movies. It's like I'm not paying $20-$30 to go to the movie theater and watch an AI actor.
yeah,
Like I just
but
don't
how many
think
people
I
will
don't
know?
think
How
movie
many people will read about it ahead of time before they just see, oh, that movie looks interesting? Like,
I
you,
feel like there has to be like, because there has to be like, the movie has to have like a hook to get people to go.
yeah,
Like either like it's part of a big franchise, or it's a recognizable actor that they already know, or it's an interesting story. And like I feel like when they're like, "Oh, that looks interesting. Oh, who's what's her name? Tilly Norwood." They're gonna look it up, be like, "Oh," and then they'll have the decision to make. It's like, do I want to go support this and see this movie that I think is cool, or
I
do I
think
want to
you're
be like,
overthinking
"Fuck
how
no"?
much people are going to think about it. You and
I
I are
have to. You
media.
have to mix it.
You. I don't. I think you're underestimating how bad media literacy is to even that level, which sucks.
But this is. But I think the reason I overestimate it is because it's so easy to be media literate. Like I'm sorry, but like the fact that so many people are so stupid is insane.
Yep.
Like how do you not just like see something and immediately be like, oh, that doesn't seem right? And how did the fact that so many people just slurp this garbage down
Let me put it this way,
and
Scott.
don't care?
I was at my family Thanksgiving. I was at one of my family Thanksgivings, and someone at a table could not be bothered to go look up an ESPN, a Sports Illustrated, or whatever article about
Mhm,
how someone breaking down how the current uh, standings for the college football playoffs were going.
mhm.
So they asked ChatGPT to summarize it for them and had it speak to them. And it gave a very bloated, very mediocre, partially correct answer from what I overheard. And they took that as fact and ran with it in the conversation. And that's what that's the point we're at right now. Where we are, unfortunately, even our low bar for media literacy, as people who know how bad it is and how few people are reading stuff and how few people are consuming content that actually matters, it's below the bar by a significant margin.
I feel like humanity's turning into the people in Wall-E.
Yeah, it
And
is.
I pray I'm dead before that happens.
I want to be dead before any of that happens. So, anyways,
God.
hey, Sega, don't, because if you do, we're going to run into the same issue. I'm not going to buy. This is the ultimate. If you know me as a person who likes video games, this is the ultimate damnation of this. Level 5 has been open about using generative AI in their development process for some of their games. If the new Professor Layton that is coming out next year has generative AI used for any of the text, any of the puzzles, any of the art, any of the anything, and I am made aware of it, I will not be purchasing the next Professor Layton. I will not be playing it. I get offered codes for those games. One of the first games I got to review when I was doing like game reviews for GamePer, when I was double timing on freelance for gamers, was I got reached out to because I'm such a big Professor Layton person. Nintendo, who rarely reaches out to me, even back then, was like, "Hey, we know you're a big Professor Layton person. We're releasing the 3DS game, uh, Layton's Mystery Journey. We're releasing that on Switch. Would you like to review the Switch version?" And I was like, "Yeah, I'll do that," and I did. That if at any point the games that I love start using generative AI, it's the same thing where I will never defend $1 billion company. I'll go to bat for Nintendo in terms of like a creative sense, or in terms of people bashing
Mhm.
it for like some of their product designs or their pricing and stuff. But I'm never going to defend $1 billion company just out of the like, oh, I love this $1 billion company because it has IP that I like. Like Nintendo does something stupid. I don't care that I love Xenoblade and F-Zero and all that stuff. I'm gonna call them out on it. If any of those games use generative AI, I'm not gonna play them. Like that's just how it
Yeah.
is. Like I don't know. Sega, hey Sega, fuck off. Don't do this, please. I like a lot of your stuff. You're doing Virtua Fighter. You make Yakuza. I like your stuff. Like I don't play Persona, but you have Atlas making cool stuff. Don't do this, please.
God, it'd be so nice if this was just a bubble that burst, but I just feel like it's not gonna happen.
It'll burst in
Even
a
though, like,
like
even if because it's not that it's popular, because like it's unpopular, but it's also like it's manipulative. It can weave, and like the goal is to. I feel like the goal is ultimately to deceive people and not you don't
it is.
realize what you're watching.
It's and that's what Tim Sweeney is trying to do. He wants it not to be disclosed because if you
Yeah.
don't disclose it,
Mhm.
most people won't notice because the way they're using it is starting small. it's starting with like the background assets. It's starting with one music track. It's starting with a couple mechanical voices. But if you let that slide, if we open the door a little bit, if we invite the vampire in, guess what happens? The entire industry becomes vampires.
Mhm.
Because
Yep.
it'll start small. It'll start with the small stuff, and it'll start scaling up to the point where background artists aren't getting hired for a project because or concept artists aren't being hired to conceptualize things for projects because the AI can do it. Voice actors are being lowballed even further. I'm going to very briefly talk about that because it's games industry adjacent here in a second, but like these people are already being paid less than they should be paid. People are already being lowballed.
Yeah.
People are already being treated poorly. No one makes residuals off of their ideas in this industry, their performances in this industry. Like, at most, you're going to get to go to conventions, get paid to go to conventions. You're going to get paid for appearances and stuff. You're going to get paid for sequels. You're going to get paid for something else. You're not going to get paid for the character you create. What's her face? The person who made Miles Morales was just posting about like how not making a dime from Spider-Verse, not making a dime for the Insomniac games. None of that stuff. She doesn't make money from any of it because these companies are not your friends. These companies use your creative brain and your creative stuff, approve the things, and then as soon as you're not useful to them, or as soon as your run is done, or as soon as your whatever is done with them, they get to keep the thing and keep profiting off the thing while you get nothing for it. I can't remember the name of the person who passed away. He created a ton of comics, a ton of great runs, a ton of characters. He was on his deathbed begging people online, rightfully so, to support his GoFundMe and to buy art from him and selling stuff off because he could not afford care. And they did not lift a finger to help him. These comic companies did not lift a finger to help him. And he died. And then they put rest in peace posts up. They don't care about people. They want to maximize profit. There are people there who do care. There are people in higher roles who do care about the people, who do want to help, who do want to make the creative decisions, and who do want to push things forward and continue to make things that matter. Those people are drowned out by the people who own those companies. And they are put in positions where they cannot win. And they cannot do everything. They have to pick and choose their battles. And at certain points, that involves watching people that create the things that matter die. And they can't lift a finger to do anything about it because the company and the shareholders say no. Because they don't want to lose a percentage of their profits. And that's where we're at. So I'm just going to briefly say the same thing happens to Dragon Quest creator Yuji Horii talking about a game developer convention in South Korea, just recently translated by Famitsu, or recently translated from a Famitsu article. That's Chris Scullion of VGC. Basically him saying he recently became impressed with AI, specifically citing ChatGPT as one example, saying that it handles all sorts of consultations in a very logical way. It'd be interesting if we could, this is a quote, it would be interesting if we could use that kind of AI, for example, to play quiz games or mystery games where you have to find the culprit. So what a bunch of people are trying to use it for already. You can find the culprit while talking to your support. And so the AI could do the interrogation. And when you ask it, it could tell you, here's what they said. Basically telling it that they can play the game for us. They can generate the conversation for us or whatever. And I only want to bring this up because someone said, I can't verify this source, but this is from someone over on Blue Sky. A fun fact about Yuji Horii is that back when he was working on the Portopia serial murder case, he wanted to make a mystery game that progressed through natural conversation with a computer with an artificial intelligence. So he's uniquely susceptible to being taken with current LLM technology and advertising. So there are certain people who are interested in it and see it and are contemplating this. And if it gets implemented, then everything's going to go to hell. So, this sucks.
Yeah, God, it just keeps going.
Scott,
the corner keeps getting bigger.
You ready for more? One last bad thing?
If we have to.
No, I mean we don't have to, but I'm going to. So if you've been living under a rock situation, as both of us as anime people and manga people, Crunchyroll.
You're an anime manga person. I'm not.
Okay, well you've watched like Don to Don.
I've watched Dan, yeah.
Yeah. So you've watched you've watched some anime. This does affect you because guess what? So Crunchyroll got caught out using more AI stuff. So this is from
Yeah.
Days over on Blue Sky, who wrote an article talking about how Crunchyroll is destroying its subtitles for no good reason and being caught out using AI for certain like subtitles and closed captionings. And now I've heard from many that Crunchyroll seems to be using AI to produce the closed captionings for dubs. Now, thanks to a slip up Crunchyroll had with an episode 6 dub of The Banished Court Magician, we can say with 100% certainty Crunchyroll is using an AI service called Olong for its dub closed captions. So they are completely just not saying anything about it and using it. Not surprising. Immediately after that happened, Amazon got caught because Amazon got the rights to release to put Banana Fish, a very beloved romance show, on Amazon Prime. They used an AI English dub and an AI Spanish dub. Fully. Just completely. They also did it with they did it with
so much money.
You know what else?
Why
They
are
did it for
people
No
doing-
Game No Life too, which already had an English dub.
I saw that one. That's
Like, what
unbelievable.
the-
like what are we
And they got
doing
called out
wrong?
on it. The English dub, the Banana Fish one specifically. I don't know about the other ones because I haven't looked into it since I put this on the document. But that happened. They got called out by voice actors. Frieza's voice actor, Damon Mills, basically was like, after years of fans hoping for an English dub of Banana Fish, you give it to us as AI generated garbage. It's disrespectful as hell. Was a queer trauma narrative handed to a machine because paying real actors is too hard? Fix this, or I will not work with you as an actor ever again on any of your dubs. This is not the future. This is erasure. And this also from another Cale and Scott, another actor. Amazon has opted to use AI for dubs of Banana Fish, including English. It sounds terrible. If you enjoyed our work, if you've ever wanted to be a VA yourself, consider voicing your displeasure by canceling your subscription. So this got taken down. This keep yelling about it because Amazon will not care unless you make a huge stink about it.
Yeah.
But apparently the Japanese companies that licensed it this did not get their approval, from what I saw.
Oh,
I wish I could find that.
That's very substantial.
If that's the case, that's crazy. I can't remember. It was a big.
That could be like legal.
Oh yeah,
like
and they
legal
could lose the
ramifications.
rights to a bunch of anime on their platform, which is crazy now because anime is such a big part of streaming services as it continues to grow, and Amazon wants to get in on that.
Fuck around and find out.
But I wanted to highlight this, and that I'm not going to get into the specifics of that part of it because that would take a whole another 20 minutes to explain. But I also wanted to highlight this article from Chris Scullion, because this highlights how badly voice actors are treated with the no licensing, no residuals, no nothing. The iconic NBA Jam voice actor, who boom shakalaka, they're heating up, the heart and soul of that game.
Yeah,
was paid reportedly $80 to voice the game.
$80.
Or not 80, $800 for the entirety of that game. Now we've never been so back, Scott.
Yeah, my
Peter
my
really
cat,
doesn't like us
my-
dissing AI.
I was just gonna say my cat that loves AI heard enough slander and
Yeah.
said, "I'm shutting you all down." So
Yep.
stepped to my power button. Tragic, but let's pick up where
Yeah.
we.
I just like Tim Kitzrow, the voice behind NBA Jam, did an interview with The Escapist. It was basically like, you might do a couple hours in the booth, you get paid this, and then that's basically it. You're not going to make a living on it. And that's true. A lot of people, there was on one of the, I can't remember his name. He voiced Legoshi, the main character of Beastars.
Yes.
His voice actor, who also does streaming, talked about like, I thought I was gonna have to move back home and give up because I made like, I don't remember the exact amount, but it was a max of a couple $1,000 for the entirety of Beastars.
Wow.
Or the entire recording session that he did, or whatever, in that initial run. That was not enough. So he was on stream saying, "Hey, I'm probably gonna. I hope you like the character. I'm happy I got to do it, but I don't know if I'm gonna be able to keep doing this." And then the furry community was like, no, you're gonna keep doing this,
Yeah.
and then
But
but
like you better
streaming
not.
paid for his career essentially to keep going until he can make it. Like they do not get voice actors, uh, do not get paid royalties. It's the same thing with whenever you hear child stars from shows or like teen stars on shows, like Drake Bell and Josh Peck talking about Drake and Josh, where they don't get paid royalties, but guest stars who were in one episode get paid royalties for Drake and Josh.
Crazy.
Like that's the kind of media landscape we're still living in. And nothing is changing, and now they're trying to cut corners with AI and replace people with AI. So it's stupid. I'm not going to support it. As soon as I get knowledge of a game that uses AI, I'm basically like, okay, that's off the list of things that I want to play or try or acknowledge or write about. Like for every game that's using AI, there's going to be an indie game that pops up or a smaller like AAA experience that pops up.
That's not going to go away, thankfully. There's
like
still
as much like we just talked about how we're not going to defend companies, billion-dollar companies, but Nintendo's come out and said the AI is not how we want to do our stuff. So, like,
and even Phil Spencer, who we have lots of
he said they're not going to force it out. Now, that's Phil Spencer talking, not the CEO of Microsoft talking.
Mm-hmm.
Like, where does the line get drawn? When does things actually start getting forced down people's throat? Because we know it's happening at Krafton, we know it's happening at EA, we know it's happening at all these places. So, for every person standing up against it, for every company standing up against it, there's another one that's like pushing it down people's throats, and people can't say no because they need money to survive. So you just have to be more selective. Jesus Christ. Peter really doesn't like. Okay, we're gonna move on from the AI topics. Peter's starting to threaten us. He's escalating. He's escalating as we continue to talk about this.
He hates it. Hates it.
But now we're just gonna get into our like quick hit segment. There's not gonna be a game today because we're already running a little bit long. So we're gonna talk about the Game Awards a little bit now. Just briefly, multiple insiders. Naughty Dog's Intergalactic. The Heretic Prophet is reportedly skipping the Game Awards and won't release next year. So that's pretty standard knowledge that it wasn't going to be a 2026 game. Like we could have guessed that just based on like how it was revealed and when it was revealed and stuff. Didn't the skipping the Game Awards, if it doesn't have anything new to show that's substantial, including a release date, makes sense. That's just one of those games. That's a big enough game to where you see it the first time and then you don't see it again until there's a substantial amount of. That's like Wolverine. That's kind of how PlayStation operates. You see it the first time when they reveal it, tease, then it year or two passes, then you get the substantial thing and the release date. Kind of how it works. So every company runs differently. That makes sense. Same thing for The Witcher. The Witcher 4 won't be appearing at the Game Awards. Then that's a direct comment from the CD Projekt Red co-CEO. So
they're not gonna let anyone get their hopes up, or like they're not gonna let anyone get anyone's hopes up just to be let down. They're letting we're not gonna be here.
That's good. You would hope Square Enix would do the same if we weren't going to see Final Fantasy Part 3, the Final Fantasy 7 Part 3, Revelation, whatever it's going to end up being called. Kingdom Hearts 4 is another one where it just seems like some companies just don't outright say they're not going to be there because they don't really care. They don't acknowledge rumors and stuff. So we'll see. What do you? We'll quickly touch on this because we'll probably do like a post-game award show or something. And if not, then we'll definitely talk about the outcomes and the announcements next week. But what is something you want to see, and what do you think we're going to see? Just like a brief overview of your thoughts of like what we're gonna like what you would want or what you think we're gonna get.
I would like to see either confirmation of the potential Coda remake, if just because I do love that game so much, and I'd love to see the fact I'd love to see the remake still alive. If not, to see something from any of the other Star Wars projects going on, that being Eclipse or the turn-based XCOM game, which name is escaping me right now.
Is that by Firaxis or is that something? Who's making that?
It's by a new studio with a lot of XCOM veterans.
Okay, got it. Cool.
So it is pretty much like people who made XCOM are making this
Yeah,
game.
got it.
The other, and then apparently there's also been rumors that they're doing a Total War for Star Wars. That's like the big Total War, the big new Total War
Yeah, from
ambitious
the Sega,
project.
the
The devs have promised.
yeah,
They said they're going to announce something ambitious at this show. So
the Creative Assembly.
I
That
really
too,
want to
yeah.
know what that weird relic thing in the desert thing is about.
Yeah.
I want to see stuff about Exodus. I want to see stuff about. I want to see more stuff from the Lego Batman game. Yeah, I just want to be. But I want to be surprised. I'm not going to dig too much in before the show. I don't. We don't have to cover it, which is such a relief. But I am going to be interested to see what they announce.
I want
Especially considering like the GTA 6 delays. Like, how's that going to affect like people moving stuff up and moving up timelines and changing things around?
yeah, how
Like,
it's going to shift things. Maybe we'll get
we'll
a
see.
couple
Yeah.
more release dates that we weren't expecting. I'm trying to think of like realistic games because there's not a lot of games that I'm personally interested in that I think we're going to see. I want one cool reveal for like a game that I'm interested in. I don't know what that I don't even know what that would entail. Like, I don't need a release date for certain things. Like, I don't like, we know Onimusha is coming out next year. I'll probably play that. Capcom could announce something cool, I guess. And I want a cool announcement for a franchise I'm into. Doesn't really matter which one. That's kind of just what I go into all these for. Like, I think I think the big end of show thing is probably going to be Final Fantasy. I think we're going to get the name, and it's either going to be a late next year game or because it's not going to launch in 6 months. So I think it's either going to be late next year. Right. Or this is just the first time we see it, and then it's going to be early 2027, kind of like in that February to April timeframe that they released the last two. That's what I think we're going to get, because that gives them a full year to then hype up the game, and then you can show the full release date at the next Game Awards or at GDC or something, or Summer Game Fest. You can show it in 6 months, and then you have a less than year turnaround to releasing it. Something like that. I think that's going to be the big thing we get. There's probably going to be one other huge, because like last year we got Okami, and we got we got two big announcements. We got Intergalactic. We got Okami, and then we got the Intergalactic reveal. Those were the two biggest like surprises. Or Okami sequel with the original, with the original creator and director, and then also Intergalactic getting shown for the first time. So I think we're gonna get two similar size. Like, one of them is gonna be probably Final Fantasy, and then one of them is gonna be either completely new IP or
Witcher 4.
No, we just said that. Oh, was that Game Awards last year? You're right. That was Game Awards last year. That was the first time.
I was about to have another thing to get mad about at Google's AI, because I said I searched up Witcher. I searched up Game Awards 2024 reveals, and it said Witcher 4.
I think
that was about to yell it.
That was like one of the first ones.
I think it was. Yeah.
They usually, last year's show was stacked compared to like most Game Awards, because we also got the reveal of whatchamacallit, the Shadow of the Colossus creator's new game, which we could see here, but we're probably gonna get a big-ish reveal in the early part. Your animals are just going all over the place.
Kira hates AI, so she's going after Peter now.
That's fair. But yeah, no, we got we're probably gonna get one biggish reveal in the first 20 minutes. Then we're gonna get the kind of like towards the end of the second half of the show, big reveal, and then they're gonna hit us with the biggest one at the end, like usual. So yeah, something along those lines. The only one I'm like pretty sure we're getting is Final Fantasy, which we could not get, because who knows what the timeline is. They said the turnaround's gonna be shorter. I assume that means either late next year, early 2027. So that's just my thought process there. But that's just kind of where I'm at with the Game Awards. We could also get a new announcement for Tekken, but we did just get news that after 30 years with Bandai Namco, Katsuhiro Harada is leaving Bandai Namco and the Tekken team. This is like one of those announcements that's like, you can tell it's a mix, like it came from a bunch of different places. whether it was frustration
Mhm.
with how Bandai Namco was handling things or like just how the industry has changed. Because that's like how my grandpa decided to retire from coaching basketball, is because he went from the NCAA. His college went from the NCAA to the NAIA to NCAA, and the rule changes just kind of drained him over the 5 years post transition
Mhm.
there. So he decided to step away. But um, this is him posting. This was like late last night, where he said, "I like to share I'll be leaving Bandai Namco at the end of 2025 with the Tekken series reaching its 30th anniversary, an important milestone for a project I've devoted much of my life to. I felt this was the most fitting moment to bring one chapter to a close." And then he went into like a lot of detail talking about like his thought process here. He's like, "My roots lie in the days when I was supported small local tournaments in Japanese arcades and in small halls and community centers overseas. I still remember carrying arcade cabinets by myself, encouraging people to please try Tekken, and directly facing the players right in front of me. The conversations and atmosphere we shared in those places became the core of who I am as a developer and game creator. Even as the times changed, those experiences have remained at the center of my identity, and even after the tournament scene grew much larger, many of you continued to treat me like an old friend, challenging me at venues, inviting me out for drinks at bars. Those memories are also deeply precious to me. In recent years, I experienced the loss of several close friends in my personal life and my professional life as I witnessed the retirements or passing of many senior colleagues whom I deeply respect. Those accumulated events made me reflect on the quote, time I have left as a creator. During that period, I sought advice from King Kutaragi, who I believe is the like old Sony, like old headed Sony, uh, like original PlayStation era, whom I respect as though he were another father, and received invaluable encouragement and guidance. His words quietly supported me in making this decision. Over the past 4 to 5 years, I've gradually handed over all my responsibilities, as well as the stories and the world building I oversaw, to the team, bring me to the present day. Looking back, I was fortunate to work on an extraordinary variety of projects, VR titles such as Summer Lesson, Pokken Tournament, the Soul Calibur series, and many others, both inside and outside the company. Each project was full of new discoveries and learning, and every one of them became an irreplaceable experience for me. To everyone who has supported me, to communities around the world, and to all the colleagues who have walked alongside me for so many years, I offer my deepest gratitude. Share more about my next episode at a later date. Thank you very much for everything. And then this is like a post statement where he's like, although I will be leaving at the end of 2025, Bandai Namco has asked me to appear at the Tekken World Tournament Finals at the end of January 2026, so I expect to attend as a guest. For 30 years, I kept saying I'll do it someday, and never once performed as a DJ at a tournament event. So instead, I will be releasing for the first and last time a 60-minute Tekken DJ style nonstop mix, personally edited by myself, together with this announcement. Listening to it brings back many memories. Thank you again, sincerely, for all these years. And then he just drops a SoundCloud link and he's out. Like,
What a
Harada,
what a legend.
I fucking love Harada for all the weird shit he's gotten into. Like, none of it controversial or anything, but like, for how weird of a person he is, how weird some of his decisions would be, weird some of his comments are about the industry. With this announcement, I'm so happy I got to interview him one last time at Evo. I've interviewed him about half a dozen times over the last 7 years. He's always been a pleasure. He's always kept it real, very straightforward, very, I'm not going to say wholesome because that's not the right word for it, but like, he says it best when he's like, you treated me like a close friend and challenged me and took me to. He was never against doing some stupid shit at a fighting game tournament for a bit. Every year at Evo, he and Michael Murray would walk out on stage, make a joke about a PowerPoint presentation, and then walk off, fake a walk off, and then come back and say, "Are you ready?" and then show the actual thing. Like, he was always in on it. And you could tell that he took joy in being in on it, even though he's very serious. So like, this hits hard from like I really like I'm not the biggest Tekken guy, but like from a fighting game perspective, like the game is in good hands. The other creatives there are in good hands, but like, it's gonna be weird if I go to a Evo or go to a fighting game tournament and the lineup of interviews doesn't include Harada and Michael Murray. It's just Michael Murray and like the rest of the Tekken team are all awesome, but like, it's just gonna feel weird. And you could kind of tell he was taking a step back a little bit over the years too. So like with how involved he was in answering a bunch of the questions, it felt like Michael and Ken and a bunch of the guys that were also working on the game were more involved in like the answering of more of the direct questions. And if it was like world building or like lore or historical wise, Harada would step in and say some stuff. So this is great for him that he's kind of taking his thoughts on life. He's done so much cool shit. He's probably not done creating. But I don't think this doesn't sound like I'm going to start a new studio. Like this sounds like maybe he'll do like a couple creative things. He'll consult, or do some cool shit.
Yeah.
But I don't think he's gonna go
He,
jump.
he won't be gone, but he's not going to be doing the same stuff he was doing.
Yeah, like he's still gonna be around. He'll still go to tournaments, but he's not gonna be at like the international stuff as frequently and all that stuff. So, shout out to Harada. Thanks for everything you've done. Whatever you do next, I hope you enjoy it and it's cool. So, and just to round out the show, we got a couple quick hits here because that was like the biggest of the bunch. This is from Chris Golian over at VGC. Shovel Knight Studio Yacht Club Games is make or break and relying on its net game success. If Meet the Hauler doesn't do well, the studio will need more money to survive, its co-founder says. So this is an interview with Bloomberg written up by VGC. This is from studio director Sean Velasco. It's make or break for sure. If we sold 500,000 copies, then we would be golden. If we sold 200,000, that would be really, really great. If we sold like 100,000, that's not so good. This is the state of the industry. Meet the Hauler got delayed for a couple different reasons. This is where most studios are at. Like if they put a bunch of time and effort into a game, and even if you've had successes and are viewed as a success in the industry, like one flop can make or break a studio, even if it's as great as Yacht Club, which Yacht Club has done mostly just Shovel Knight, but like Shovel Knight was a
sold
huge
more than
success.
3 million copies.
Yeah, and their spin-offs have sold probably pretty well, pretty decently too. But the fact that they're relying on a game to hit certain metrics to survive, rather than it be viewed as like a major success, is not great. Man, it sucks. That's just where we're at. Even successes don't matter to some. To like, a game could be viewed as a success and people still get laid off at some points. Like that's just where we're at as an industry right now. It sucks ass.
Yeah, we should pick one more quick hit story because we've hit 2 hours. We gotta wrap up.
Yeah, we'll just hit the this Twitch story then. This is just Twitch last week announced, or at the end of November announced, it was introducing the option to gift 1,000 subscribers for $5,000. And just a bunch of streamers stepped up and were like, bro, like this is Ludwig talking. Every new Twitch feature exists to suck more money from viewers. Give 200 subs, give 1,000 subs, hype trains, treasure trains, sub in advance. Like, bro, just make a decent mobile/TV app. I'm losing my mind. And this just brought creators out the woodwork to be like, mobile app sucks. That's the way a lot of people would discover people. You want to be compete with all these other platforms, but you're not. Well, you don't want to do VODs. You don't want to do like scheduled content. You want to be live streaming only in clips. You're reworking how clips work. You're not making clips shorts or as viewable as shorts, which is crazy that you can't just like make it viewable in like a feed of like clips from creators and circulate that. Your app sucks. I hate using it. I don't use it because your app sucks. And you don't have a TV app, which I did not know. Which I think they have a console app.
They don't have a Roku app either.
Which is crazy. Like the fact that they want to be in as many to expand their viewership, but they're not doing these simple things is crazy.
Doing the worst thing. They're not expanding their viewership. They're trying to milk more from their current viewership. And it's just like, that's like, you're not at the stage yet. You can absolutely still be bringing people on. And it's just, I just don't get it.
I don't get it. I think it's stupid. I think that a lot of these companies are fucking stupid in what they focus on and what they're trying to do. This isn't even...
I watch all my esports on YouTube anyway. So
yeah, this is the first year because Twitch Recap just came out that I looked at that and I watched like GDQ and stuff on there, and I watched like some events on there, but Dota wasn't my top game this year. I watched a shit ton of the international this year. You know where I watched it? I watched it on YouTube.
Yeah,
because it was easy to cast between my computer, my TV, watch it on my phone while I'm cooking or whatever. Like,
just pause it. The fact that you just pause it.
Yeah, like they're adding that now. They're adding some of that to Twitch now, but all this stuff
I did see that the other day. But
they're adding like the VOD scrub.
It's so late in the game. It's like you've been out for years now.
They're so behind. They need the things they need to do is they need the apps. They need those apps. They need to structure the content. They need to do a clip feed or some kind of they need to enhance discoverability in some fashion. And they need to, there's a whole bunch of stuff they need to do better because of the events and how they're monetizing and in it, like the lurking stuff where views aren't being counted properly, even if people are lurking without a second screen open, view botting, how they treat their creators, the stuff they promote on there, what they allow on there, what they don't allow on there. Like, there's so many things they need to do better, but the bare minimum of a multi-million-dollar part of a multi-billion/trillion-dollar company not having a functional app when you're an entertainment app, and
that's great.
I don't, stupid, dumb, whatever.
Yeah, again, like it's part of it's like, we're not like, we don't want to defend billion-dollar companies, like we want to defend billion-dollar companies, but sometimes you feel like rooting for them just because it's like, not rooting for them, but just sort of like, hey,
we want the competition.
Can you do this really easy thing that would help so many people and help yourself as well? And there's like, no.
I want to root for the $1 trillion company if that $1 trillion company is doing something that will then benefit a bunch of creators and creatives. Because if they did that, a bunch of Twitch streamers would make more money. Not just the big ones, the small ones. A bunch of mid-tier creators that make their living or make a part of their living on there would then probably have more income. They added Twitch Prime to the mobile app. You can now Twitch Prime sub on the mobile apps. That's huge. Because that is a big portion of a lot of people's income, is there people that tune into like a couple streams a week of theirs or a couple streams a month of theirs. You still use their Twitch Prime sub on that creator. That's free money to them.
Free money.
Like, it benefits the person watching, benefits the creator.
They don't want it. They don't want the free money.
Yeah, they want Bezos to still make more, even though he's not the CEO anymore. Like that, it's dumb. It's stupid. Peter really wants this to be over. He's really tired of us bashing $1 trillion companies. Like that.
He loves capitalism.
Your cat is the most pro-capitalist person we will ever have on this podcast. So, anyways, we went a little bit long, but we missed a week, so you get a little bit extra on top to catch up. Scott will continue his hopefully break his streak in the game next week. We'll talk about the Game Awards either before then or after then. Yeah, we'll figure out how we're going to talk about that, whether it's the main episode or side episode, whatever. Enjoy your Game Awards. Hopefully you get what you want. Like, subscribe, do all the things to the YouTube channel. Leave a subscribe or leave a review on the goddamn Spotify, whatever you listen on. Most people listen to us on Pocket Cast, which is dope. I like Pocket Cast more than I like
good for us.
Whatever. So shout out to you guys. But if you want to drop a review or leave feedback for us, please do. And to comment below with like your we did soup last week. What's your favorite Thanksgiving / Christmas like kind of specific dish? I want to get a vibe check on that. So if you stuck around that long, drop that below. We'll catch you next week.